Many thanks to our top team at BBC Radio Wales, albeit a disappointing, almost devastating afternoon for Welsh rugby in the Stadio Olimpico. Loads more reaction on the Scrum 5 podcast and of course on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. There'll be a Nations pod next week where we'll hear more from Gareth Rhys-Owen, and we'll hear from Gareth Rhys-Owen and James Hook in our post-match podcast today, which will be out this evening as soon after the final whistle here at Twickenham as we can manage. But the Allianz Stadium starting to fill up. What are we, 25 minutes away from kickoff? England warming up to our left, France over to our right on a fairly miserable afternoon in southwest London. I said earlier that it was going to clear up. Nothing of the sort. It's drizzly, it's gloomy and it's wet. But can England lift the gloom over this place after that run of poor results? Matt Dawson is with us as ever. Chris Ashton is back with us after his various other pursuits around the stadium. Ashley, great to see you. Dawes, great to see you. And Paul Grayson down on the touchline. What a team we've assembled here on Sports Extra. Here we go, Matt, big one this. We said it last weekend in Dublin, but it's another big old game for England and this whole regime that Steve Borthwick's heading up.
Yeah, there was no doubt when the fixtures came out months and months ago, from an England perspective, what a fast start England needed into this tournament. And they got it against Ireland, 20-30 minutes. Looked like maybe we're seeing the new regime, and are they going to threaten? They were slightly caught up, shall we say, in the way that they wanted to play and got undone. Tonight is front and centre. It's there for all to see, the enormity of the French scrummaging unit that are just going through some drills in the bottom right hand corner as we look at it, and then the flamboyance and brilliance and brains as well as that brawn in the back line for France are going to cause England a lot of trouble. But keeping an eye on the warm-ups as we're chatting about that, Jonesy, England have done nothing other than practice one-out runners, pick and go. You know, it's all about the trundle early on today. It's going to be an old school bash up, I think, early on. Yeah,
and Chris Ashton, you've been coached by Steve Borthwick, and even though he speaks a lot at the moment about England being a ball movement team, an attacking team, in these conditions, will he go somewhat back to type a big territory game and try and win an arm wrestle? And will that be enough against this French side?
Well, my answer, and I think Steve's answer, would be you play the game in front of you, the conditions and what that is. So if that lends itself to more kicking, then might see, especially early on in the game. I think we might see more than from France too, contestable. They have normally gone long, but with Marcus Smith sitting at 15, it seems like an obvious kicking place to go to on top of Marcus Smith to put pressure on his catching skills, because he's not really been tested enough there, that area. The all access with Smith and Smith, gonna have to see how that plays out today. Let's hope we see a lot of good attacking rugby, even if the conditions don't allow it necessarily.
Yeah, let's go down pitch side with Paul Grayson, World Cup winner, on the touchline. Just set the scene from us where you are, Grace, metres away from the pitch.
You know, when you playing for school or your junior club on a Sunday morning and you turn up and look at the opposition and everyone goes, ooh, they look big. Well, France look big. I mean, seriously big. Just carrying on from what the boys are saying there about the game and how it's going to work from England's point of view, they have expanded a little bit from the pick and go practice they were doing. You can't get obsessed with Smith and Smith. It's not just that. Everybody's got a job to do to paint the pictures and go forward and give those two lads some options to deal with. So the core of the game, the set piece, winning your own ball, facilitating the breakdown, making sure you keep it and keep pace for Mitchell to do his job. Then the Smiths can have a real impact on the game, but they've got to do a lot right.
Grace, I don't think we've spoken an awful lot this week about the fact that England are going to have two great fly half options today, and it's not very often in this modern game do you sort of have that old school two receivers left and right. A lot for France to take on board and to look out for.
Yeah, they're a different threat. One we've seen a little bit, but not from the off. And you know, it's interesting that France have turned to Ramos as a 10 because he's been playing for Toulouse in that position. But when Entomac's got his ban, they've immediately brought Jalibert back in so that they have got effectively two playmakers in their team. It's taken England a while to catch on, and it's only George Furbank's emergence really as the way he plays for Northampton, and then last summer on the tour in New Zealand really coming to the fore as that second playmaker. So that's why Smith's in that position, because the players have kind of forced that change on the coaches, because I don't think it was ever in Steve Borthwick's template, to be honest.
And actually, when we talk about team selection and tactics, are you still of the mindset that you were in the week when we were podding down at England base? You don't really care, you just want to see a win. It's been a long time now, 2 solitary wins against Japan in almost the whole 12 months of rugby.
Yeah, I've no doubt that England will start well, start fast, and compete with France up until we get into the second half, 10 minutes in, which has been the issue all the way through the autumn and for parts of the last Six Nations. We get to this area in the second half and nobody seems to grasp the game or get control of the game, whether that's markers at fly half, which we've got Finn today, so we might see some difference there, or it's just a general flat feeling within the whole squad, and nobody knows how to get hold of the game or the experience or the want to compete with these big teams once we get to the 50-minute mark. So I think we'll be right at them. It's just we see what happens when we get to 50 minutes.
And we've got 2 playmakers here who steered club and country to many big wins in their time. Paul Grace and Matt Dawson, just both of you discuss with each other, what is it like as a playmaker? Because Matt, you made the point in Dublin, you could talk all you like about front row and back 3 and back row, but 8, 9, 10, they set the template, they command a team around the pitch. Do you have to really want to be in that position as a player to say on 60 minutes, let me make the decisions and let me steer the team over the line?
Yeah, there's no question. It has to be part of your halfback DNA to want to take control of the game, and yeah, a lot of it actually would be probably the scrum half wanting to do more and the fly half saying, yeah, just calm your pants a little bit here, please, Dawes. That might have well have been on. However, look at these options, and there's a bit of discussion around it. Yeah, but in many games, Paul and I, for club and country, would, you would be making decisions that the team didn't necessarily know about, but for direction and strategy, we knew it was the right thing for them.
And that's the key, isn't it, for England today, having that Northampton axis at 9 and 10, 2 players familiar with each other, so that the getting to know you process has happened already at club level. So there's a bit more of an instinctive element and a natural order to those quick discussions. It doesn't take you 2 minutes to make your point. In their little hierarchy, Finn Smith will say X, Alex Mitchell hopefully will go, no problem, boss, and then they'll get on with the next thing. Whether that is, we're going to slow it down, we're going to kick more, we're going to maul more, or I don't want the ball, the gaps are all around the breakdown, you take it on, get us going forward, and I'll let you know when I'm interested in doing it. So I'm hopeful that what they've done with Northampton over the last kind of year and a half together will bear fruit for them on the big stage.
I mean, on that point, with Ashley, was not long ago was playing in these types of games. Is there still place for that in the game? Is there still the opportunity to say, do you know what, just keep mauling them, boys. They don't want it, backs don't want it, just keep mauling, because we're battering them. Play territory, get the ball, rock and maul, keep it tight, just wear them down. Is that still in the game?
Well, I definitely think it was in the game up until we lost Owen and Nessman. Are we putting George Ford in that bracket? Not quite yet, but I think since we've lost that authoritative figure, sat behind the forwards, guiding more, I definitely still think it's in the game, but right now we've not got the experience maybe necessarily of the lads to go to the forwards and go, you're having it, you keep it until I say it, which might be the lost in communication part where we've been having when lads are tired and they need a bit of direction, where we haven't got the strength of character necessarily as a game manager in the squad.
Okay, that's such an interesting phrase you use, strength of character. And you mentioned Owen Farrell. Could you also put a Ben Youngs in that category? And because we did ask Richard Wigglesworth about this down at Penny Hill Park actually in the week. That can't be coming from the coaches, can it? They can send messages on, but in the white hot heat of battle, when players are coming and going and the opposition are doing things you can't control, that's got to be on the players. Are they being empowered enough to make those decisions, or is it just not in the modern day player's character?
And it's not just the players who are in the really important positions 9 and 10. If I was out there outside, I'd be desperate for the ball almost too much at times. I was like, They were like, just calm down, will you? But I'd like to think I was a player that always wanted the ball, always offer an option to players, because I wanted to win and I wanted to be in the game and make a difference. Sometimes in the game I don't necessarily see the players wanting the ball all the time. They're always relying on someone else to get them the ball, or hopefully they think Marcus Smith might see a kicking option or a passing option, where today, if you're in this game, you've got to want to go and get the ball, make a difference.
Actually, is that pressure?
It can be, yes, without doubt, especially when you get to the later stages of the test match and the team starts to come back into the game. You're like, oh no, I don't want to take responsibility. But I mean, we got two here in Dorse, especially being in a World Cup final situation, where being calm, having a calm head in those times are where players like me would rely on people like him to take control of the game.
And Grace on the touchline, you just saw the French players file in, and now England, led by Maro Itoje.
Yeah, both captains leading their team off. Antoine Dupont, diminutive figure, but the stature of the best player in the world, walking his team down the tunnel. England look red in the cheeks. They've obviously had a pretty physical warm-up. Ollie Slytome and Ollie Lawrence wandering in together. Lawrence was good last week, I thought. I thought he kind of took a little bit of a step up. I know it didn't work out for England in the end, but I really did think early doors he looked like he was starting to find his feet at international level. He'll have to have a big one today, because I do think in the centres that's potentially an area where England might get some joy.
Yeah, let's go through the two teams while we can. 13 minutes away from kickoff. Anthems shortly. The band is out. The huge flags are about to be unfurled. Still gloomy and misty above Twickenham, but there will not be a spare seat in this 82,000-seater stadium. England, Ellis Genge, Luke Cowan-Dickie, Will Stewart, Maro Itoje, George Martin in the second row, Tom Curry, Ben Earl and Tom Willis. A reshuffle in the back row. Willis starting at 8 for the first time. Earl going from 8 to 7. Alex Mitchell and Finn Smith on his first start for his country. Henry Slade, Ollie Lawrence in the midfield. Ollie Slytome in for the injured Murley. Tommy Freeman and Marcus Smith complete the back three. And their bench, England, Jamie George, Finn Baxter, Joe Hayes, Ollie Chesham, Chandler Cunningham South, Ben Curry, 6 forwards, and Harry Randall and Elliot Daly. And that Smith and Smith combinations, Dorse will resist the temptation to make too many Smiths puns. But can these charming men take England over the line? What a big day for them at 10 and 15.
Yeah, I am excited to see how this combination works. I've definitely been a fan of Finn Smith, because I think he maybe has that ability to be a bit calmer and a little bit controlled at this level, yet to be proven. But I'm desperate for England to find that fly half. But in the same breath, Marcus Smith he's been our game breaker. He's the guy that is doing something different on the field. So, you know, is this an opportunity for him to play at 15, maybe a little bit like Mackenzie does for New Zealand, and it just gets him in the game, gets him used to playing at this intensity, gets his hands on the ball, gets the momentum for his team, and then maybe you put him back into fly half with that experience. But you feel like you should be having players like Marcus on the field, but I'm not necessarily sure whether 15 is, you know, at this level, whether you have the opportunities to plug gaps with players, opposed to if George Furbank was fit as a traditional 15, would you put him in as 15?
But and he's those hybrid players. Think about the wealth of talent in New Zealand. Beauden Barrett and Damien McKenzie, two lightning fast, running with the ball all the time. But the player who got the nod over both of those was Richie Mo'unga, because Richie Mo'unga's decision making, he could do all the rest of it, but his decision making and his tactical acumen set him apart from the others. And I think with Marcus Smith, occasionally there's panic on the streets of London when he decides, there you go, there's one for you, Jonesy, when he decides that I'm going to run. And if your fly off is at the bottom of every second breakdown because he's spotted half a gap and his instincts have said, I've got to go for it, nobody's organising the team, I think, played at fullback will give him the freedom to back his instincts. But the calm head, the Mo'unga to Barrett or McKenzie, I see that as being Finn Smith's role.
I'd be so excited knowing that Marcus is at 15 today, because on the wing he's more structured in where he needs to be, especially on kick receipt. He's not dipping in and out. You can work with him more. You know he's going to have a go. So I'd be attaching myself to him if I was on the wing, because you know he can make space. but he's in the backfield with you, so you can link up with him a lot easier than necessarily you can when he's at fly half trying to do both roles. I'd get with him all day today.
It's going to be fascinating whether that is the selection move that just re-kickstarts again this whole England project under Steve Borthwick. 10 minutes to go until kick-off. The light show at Twickenham, dust descending on Allianz Stadium, not a spare seat in the house. Anthems on the way shortly. Let's just look at France quickly, guys. Their front row imposing, isn't it? Jean-Baptiste Koch, Pieter Mavaka and Winnie Atono, Alexandre Roumain and Emmanuel Miafu, an inexperienced but mighty second row pairing. Francois Cross, Paul Budehon and Gregory Aldreet, the 50 capper at number 8. Antoine Dupont, what more can we say about the skipper at number 9? Mathieu Jalibert in for the suspended Roman Untamak, and then Yoram Moefana and Pierre-Louis Barassi partner in the midfield, with Louis Biel-Biarri, aged just 21, but already winning his 16th cap, and then Damien Penaud and Thomas Ramos make up the back three. Should we start at the obvious, Matt Dawson, with Antoine Dupont? And I wondered earlier, if it's a wet day, could that favour England? But you've got one of the best game marshallers, someone with an enormous kicking game off both feet, kind of a player for all conditions and all seasons.
Yeah, well, and no doubt we are going to see another side of Antoine Dupont today. It's a different type of fixture, isn't it? It's all the focus for him has been about huge games at home, World Cup at home, Olympics at home. Now it's about playing away from home in the biggest atmospheres, under pressure, and he just seems to thrive on those types of that type of adversity. You know, it is going to be tight around the breakdown. You can see the way England were warming up, with the way they were defending, where they were attacking. There is going to be a lot of attention around the breakdown. I wouldn't be surprised if you hardly mention Antoine Dupont today. I would not be surprised. And then there will be a moment. There will be a supporting line. There will be a pass. There will be an offload. It will be on the retreat, the way that he will escape. There will be something. It might not be in the first 5 minutes. It might be in the last 5 minutes. But you can pretty much guarantee that there will be some kind of defining moment from him, which makes him the best player in the world.
Here we go then. The players are in the tunnel. Maro Itoje winning his 90th cap. He's been there and done it as a Saracen, an England player and a British and Irish Lion, but this is a new experience for Itoje, leading his country out as England's permanent captain at home for the first time. The Six Nations Trophy is in town, and Dupont and Itoje run by it. They resist glancing at the silverware. They lead their teams onto the hallowed Twickenham turf as the fireworks and the flames go off, the music, the lights and the atmosphere cranked up to max with just 6 minutes to go until kick-off. England-France, always a great fixture. Le Crunch has been closely contested in recent years, but France have got the edge. They've won the last 3 in 2022, so famously when winning the Grand Slam, last year in Lyon in a close one, and in 2023, one of English rugby's darkest days, a record win by 53 points to 10. France have not beaten England 4 times in a row in this fixture since 1978. The anthems are on the way. The Marseillaise followed by God Save the King, a huge red rose flag across the halfway line. France lined up to the right of the halfway line. This perfect view we have, England to the left. But before the anthems, we will have a moment of silence for Tom Voice, former England wing and a great of Wasps rugby, multiple Heineken Cup Premiership winner, who so tragically died in the flooding in Northumberland in December. We remember him now.
Please remain standing if possible for the national anthem of France, performed by Lucia Lucas.
Here's La Marseillaise. What a rendition of the French national anthem. Feels like a lot of France supporters are in the stadium today. Here comes God Save the King.
God Save the King.
Here we go then, England against France, live on the BBC on 5 Sports Extra. BBC Sounds will be with our 5 live listeners shortly at the conclusion of the FA Cup game from Wigan with Ian Dennis. And we'll be hearing from Deno and Pat Nevin shortly on 5 Live. But here on Sports Extra, we're about to get going. Nika Amashakeli, the Georgian referee, just meandering over to the halfway line as we get ready to go. Finn Smith preparing to kick off for England. We are moments away. We've had the anthems, the cordite lingering in the air, Deno. Le Crunch moments away. What a huge game this is for England and the Steve Borthwick regime. Kick off any minute now.
It'll be here on 5 Live before you know.
So we just briefly joined our 5 Live listeners, Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin, at Wigan against Fulham in the FA Cup. We'll be on 5 Live permanently in around about 10 minutes or so, but stay on Sports Extra for every kick at the start of this game between England and France, which is about to get going. And Chris Ashton and Matt Dawson and Paul Grayson, our top team here on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Just talk us through these moments right before a big game gets going, Matt Dawson.
The players are peeling themselves off the ceiling because never mind the warm-ups, the bus trips, all the rest of it. He just wants to get to this moment all week. All you've read, all you've heard, all you've practiced, and England have been pretty good at implementing it from the off. They will be chomping.
So much is made now in the build-up. They do so much more to create an atmosphere with a light show and the flags. So many people on the pitch before the game. There's a lot more made of it, which as a player just increases your want to get going. So there's no doubt whatsoever these players will absolutely fly into this. The key question for England is how long can they maintain it for?
Nika Amashakeli, the referee, assisted by Andrea Piardi and Damien Schneider, the 2 assistant referees. And you'll also hear the television match official, the South African Marius van der Westhuizen. Finn Smith winning his 8th cap, but this is the big time. Starting at number 10 for the first time as the referee says to Smith, let's go to work. And he kicks towards the French from left to right, where it's taken in by Alexandre Roumain, the Toulouse player. Toulouse forming the spine of this French team, and why not? given their magnificence at domestic and European level. Talking of magnificence, Antoine Dupont, just outside his 22, sends a huge kick down the line. And Marcus Smith takes it at fullback, in between the 22 and the 10. Interesting how Ben Earl, the open side, has dropped into the backfield, and he makes a little bustle almost up to the sponsor's logo. Now Finn Smith will go cross kick. He's charged down by Aldreet, and then Mitchell loses it, so does Genge. Didn't go forward, so England will regather. But Matt Dawson, your first beat. Well, he had the kick off Finn Smith, then his next touch charged down. He'll need to calm down from that. Tom Curry put a little kick through. It's not the worst one. And it means France have to regather over on the far touchline through Thomas Ramos. 10-metre line France inside their own half. A minute gone, 0-0 as England try to turn this ball over and slow up the French possession. Therefore Dupont to Rouma. Rouma is stopped on the gain line. We'll get Paul Grayson's view on that little Finn Smith charge down that didn't cause too many problems for England. And then Dupont is half charged down. It's going to give Marcus Smith maybe a chance to counter-attack. And he pops it up to Freeman, then back to Smith, and then it's been lost forward, and it will be a scrum to France. Right, Paul Grayson on the touchline.
Yeah, an early message for Finn Smith. Things happened a bit quicker at international level. Aldreet shooting out of the line and charging down the crossfield kick attempt, and then Curry puts a kick in behind. Do you think England have been talking about doing that this week? Yes, they have. There's a faintest bit of drizzle in the air, Chris, so the surface of the pitch, which is already wet, the ball will be wet. Expect England to persevere with that tactic.
I thought Chris Jones was maybe a little bit harsh on Tom Curry. I thought it was a lovely little grubber through Chris Ashton. It just didn't go judged. He's a hard taskmaster, you are, Jonesy.
I think it was more my surprise at him doing it, and maybe I didn't give him the appropriate respect. An excellent footballer, Tom Curry, right down to his bootlaces, and it was well judged. Ramos couldn't just let it dribble out. But now it's scrum time.
Right, listen.
I mean, it's just, as Grace mentioned there, you would like to think Finn Smith in his mind has just got that. Oh yeah,
that's helped. I reckon it'll help.
Just a little bit too. That's fast.
I think my annoyance there, the first little passage, is Marcus's turnover. Actually, he's thrown a pass and then he's got it back. We're 2 minutes in. You don't want to be turning the ball over on the halfway that easily, having just received a kick. We've got to keep the ball. If we're going to stand any sort of chance here, we can't turn the ball over straight after receiving a kick.
Radio 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. We're live at Twickenham. England 0, France 0. Earlier, Wales humbled in Rome. Where do they go from here? Beaten 22-15. More on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast out later tonight. As Dupont shapes to the left, then goes right. He goes crossfield with a little nudge. Penno's after it. Twice a scorer here 2 years ago back in the side. But for once, Dupont's kick, despite being nicely weighted, not perfectly weighted, and it goes out for an England line-out, Matt Dawson, over on the 22.
You just feel France had options at that set piece. I'm not completely sure that was planned, Ashy. No. And yet you felt all of them might have come left. No, it's slightly skew whiff. It's gone right, and we've spoken about this a lot, the way that France can just slot into what they need to do.
It's a great place to be as a team, knowing that there's options and it could come from anywhere.
Well, George Martin comes on a peel after England win their line-out. Remember, they were very short of line-out jumpers in Dublin. They still don't have an army of them, but they won that ball. Mitchell's kick is decent, but Penno, what a player he is. 36 tries in 54 appearances. He took it regally. Antonio is well hit by that man, George Martin, it looked like, at the big banger from Leicester. France on the halfway line, slap bang in centre field, they come to the left, Ramos, nicely done, Barassi's away, goes back inside, lost by Bielbiari. England might look to counter here. Smith found Mitchell lapped it downfield, out on the full, no advantage. Okay, England will get away with that one, but Paul Grayson right in front of you, the pace, the skill, the footballing class of the French.
Yeah, and the creak in England defence on the wide outside. There's absolutely no reason for Tommy Freeman to bite in there. There are two England defenders, Slade and Freeman, almost within touching distance of each other. Far too easy for France to get round the outside.
And then on the turnover, it got to Smith and then to Mitchell. He kicked it out in the full, Ashley, but there was no advantage. You may have heard the referee say, so England will get the scrum, albeit just inside their own 22.
Yeah, I think the concern there is that we saw this last weekend. Ireland got joy down the touchline with James Lowe getting through. Freeman, just as a winger, you want to get that settled situation defensively as soon as you can. So for him to get up the touchline on first asking, really, England have got to sort that out quickly.
Filthy afternoon in southwest London, been steadily drizzling most of the day. It cleared up a little bit, but now back with that steady drizzle Paul Grayson was describing on the touchline. 5.5 minutes gone. England 0, France 0. Remember, we'll be switching to 5 Live once the FA Cup game is over at Wigan, and we'll be updating our listeners there shortly as England at the back of the scrum get a penalty, and that's actually a bit of a nerve settler for Tom Willis and for England, because it looked like he'd got caught, but France were offside, and it will be a penalty to England and a chance to get out of trouble.
Yeah, loss of binding from the French front row, therefore collapse. I think the referee was prepared maybe for England to get the ball out, but then realised, you know what, needs to stamp a bit of authority on that, make sure there's no messing around. Henry Slade goes for a long one.
He sliced it, and Ramos takes it inside his 22, so England coughing up an opportunity of field position, and now Slade has it back in his yellow boots, and that's a kind of quasi clearance and an up and under that Ramos takes, and he kicks. A lot of kicking today, as you would imagine, but France edging that kicking battle. Marcus Smith flirts with going quickly, but in the end opts for the line out. So England had a chance to go into French territory, but because Slade missed his touch, they'll have to set up for a line out in between the 22 and the 10.
They're the battles, though, you see. They're the little battles that you got to win, the little kicking battles you got to win.
England are back 5 metres from where the penalty was,
and they go
a big win for France.
And the problem with this lack of a big number 6 is that they don't have the line-out option, so Martin was under real pressure. They did resource the ball, England, but nowhere near cleanly enough to be able to maul or to do any kind of set move. Mitchell, though, will kick. That looks a nicely weighted box kick. Tommy Freeman's good in the air, but he's slightly mistimed that, and he's given a penalty away. Biarri lost it, but referee Amisha Kelly hot on England. You take us into Freeman's mind there. What's happened, Ashley, as a right winger? Well, Freeman is he's wearing 11 but playing on the right wing.
So it's hard because he had the early mistake. You really want to make up for it, get yourself into the game any way you can, really. There's an opportunity for a one-on-one contest. He's just mistimed it. He's just desperate to do something positive for the team.
Push back. Ashley, you played enough of these games where it's been hyped up one-on-one. You're playing against the super kid on the wing, Biel Barry. Scored all the tries, unstoppable, 21. You've had the whole week to think about it. You can see that in Freeman. He's slightly losing his mind. He doesn't look like he's focusing on the right things here.
He's played the game 10 times in his mind already this week. It's easy to happen, especially if you've not got too many caps under your belt, and the team hasn't been getting the wins. So there's more pressure, and you can easily play the game in the week. He just needs to settle himself just into it. Hopefully he'll get a carry soon, but with England not being in the right area of the pitch so far, no one's really had an opportunity to get themselves in the game, because England have been pinned back in their own 30 metres.
Right, just a bit of a stoppage here. If you're listening to Sports Extra, about to join 5 Live, thank you very much to Ian Dennis at Wigan. The FA Cup thrilling this afternoon, and will be at Birmingham against Newcastle with John Murray on Sports Extra, and then picking up that game on 5 Live. As ever this Saturday afternoon, you will not miss a thing as we bounce around the rugby and the football, but our base for the next hour and a half or so is Twickenham. England 0, France 0, 8 minutes gone, and perfect timing for our 5 Live listeners, because you've not missed too much, and eventually play gets underway. France with the line out, 10-metre line, playing in blue, right to left the French, England left to right, France mauling, and they're making decent traction over the 10-metre line. Remember, France haven't beaten England 4 times in a row since 1978, so history beckoning for the French, who have great memories coming here to Allianz Stadium, having beaten England by 50 points in this fixture 2 years ago. Antoine Dupont, the great Antoine Dupont, widely considered the best in the world, maybe one of the best of all time. He sends it out to another French stalwart in Audrey. 10-metre line, slightly slowish ball for Paul Boudehant, but he set it up, and he goes to the right. They might have numbers here. Jalibert, nicely done. Biarri's off his wing. Ramos is through. Thomas Ramos into the 22. And France have got behind England. Dupont, big hit coming in though on Rouma. Excellent work from Tom Curry. forces the knock-on, and that was extremely timely for England, who survived. Stays 0-0. They have the scrum inside their own 22. Let's go to Goodison. Everton-Bournemouth. Conor McNamara.
And it's all over. Everton are out of the FA Cup, beaten 2-0 at Goodison by Bournemouth. Both goals in the first half. Semenyo's penalty, Jefferson with a close range flick. Everton hit the frame of the goal 3 times in the second half but couldn't score. Everton 0, Bournemouth 2.
There are also games going on in the Championship. What's happening at Bramall Lane? Sheffield United against Portsmouth. Shojo Saka.
It's finished. Sheffield United 2, Portsmouth 1. Sheffield United lucky to get away with it because Portsmouth missed a host of chances. In the end, Chris Wilder's substitution settled it. Jezra and Rak-Saki with the winner. Portsmouth lose 8 in a row away from home. Sheffield United back up to second.
Cheers, Shojo. FA Cup scores earlier. Leeds 0, Millwall 2. Later on, were 1 up, but Man City came from behind to win 2-1. Ipswich comfortable at Coventry, 4-1. A few minutes to go there. As we were hearing from Connor, Everton out the cup, beaten 2-0 by Bournemouth at Goodison. Sorry about that, Matt Dawson. Preston Wickham going to extra time. Burnley through, beaten Southampton 1-0. Stoke 3, Cardiff 3. Closing moments there, a thriller at Stoke. And as we were hearing from Ian Dennis on 5 Live, Wigan 1, Fulham 2, Birmingham Newcastle 5:45. The start of that on Sports Extra. The conclusion after the rugby, as both sets of forwards wait to start this scrum. England 0, France 0. And Paul Grayson on the touchline, other side from where you are for that France attack just motoring.
Yeah, it is. Now, you've got to question England's wide defence. Slytone done easily on the outside as Freeman was previously. I don't know whether Slytone's expecting Marcus Smith to close there as the fullback and enter the line and make the hit one in from the end. Too easy for France, though, as I said last time.
Sunderland Watford 2-2, early game in the Championship. West Brom 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. 1-1 Norwich Derby. Sheffield United beating Portsmouth 2-1. All the scores, FA Cup, Football League, Scotland on the BBC Sport website as Henry Slade clears his lines, Matt Dawson. Better strike from Slade this time, but still, France in England's territory, 10 gone 0-0.
Chris Ashton and Ivor just had a look to one another. I'm sure Paul Grayson's thinking the same here. 2 strikes from France out wide, 2 misses from England. That's not good.
Nice ball off the top, inside from Moefana to his forwards. There's just an urgency and a sort of menace about France with the ball, isn't there? Alexandre Rouma's barely been out to play the number 4. Jalabert on the gain line, a little nudge through and slight home. Won't worry too much about this one. He will dot it down, but it will be a goal line. No advantage. England offside, and France and their dead-eyed kicker Thomas Ramos. Paul Grayson, you'd imagine, will try and build a score away from home.
Yeah, and it's self-inflicted wounds, aren't they, from an England perspective? Offside, back foot offside after after 1 or 2 phases. I mean, there's no fatigue in there, there's no brain fog, it's just a basic mistake off the back of Henry Slade, close skill, missing touch. It's a test match there. They're just gifts to the French, and Ramos very rarely misses. 40 out straight in front. I don't expect him to miss this one.
England in defence, they look solid in the middle. France are actually struggling to get any go forward. Some big hits from George Martin going in. It's on the edges. You can see the disconnect. And when Felix Jones was here, it was clear. We could all see what England were trying to achieve. It was high pressure defence. Right now, I'm not sure they're all on the same page. And with Marcus being new at full-back, it's hard to have that connection with your wingers after a week of working together.
Well, Ramos rarely misses, not from bang in front, not from 40 metres, and as I say that, he's hooked it.
Wow, keep talking it up, Chris, keep talking it up.
That is a very, very rare miss from Thomas Ramos, and it stays 0-0.
Yeah, I think let's just keep an eye out here. It's very obvious England are going for the breakdown. They're going hard onto the breakdown. They're making Antoine Dupont really challenge and dig for that ball, and then England are going up hard to press. Again, England hard to press and making Anton dig on that ruck. It seems to be the way forward for England, but it's high risk.
France dominating possession and territory. 12 minutes gone as Dupont flips it out to Antonio. Ramos up from full-back. That's a good bit of pace coming in from Jalabert, but still England keeping France at bay for now. We're going to go to Stoke Cardiff any moment now with Pat Murphy. Let's see what France can do from this attack. Around about the 10-metre line, Dupont just fizzing, nice ball. Miafu, Ramos, they're lurking with danger here, the French. Then Jalabert is charged, and they might get away, England, through Slade, and he's forced the mistake. Jalabert goes back, and France have to rescue that ball inside their own half now. So decent stuff from the England defence. Right, let's go to Stoke Cardiff. A thriller for you, Pat Murphy.
Full time 3-3. Stoke 2-0 up. They didn't quite have the cigars out, but they were looking at the ashtray. And then Stoke 3 goals in 12 minutes. Cole the equaliser, Coronata from time. Stoke 3, Cardiff 3, extra time looms, Chris.
Good stuff. Keep us in touch, Pat. Right, the League Two leaders have lost the game as England attack on the halfway line. Angus Patterson at Colchester.
Colchester 2, Walsall 1. It's a 4th game without a win for the league leaders Walsall. Goals from Bishop and Edwards cancelled out Charlie Lakin's opener, and Walsall's woes continue. Colchester 2, Walsall 1.
Thanks very much, Angus. France now through Moefana, now Biel, Biarri, good tackle, Finn Smith. It's all happening up and down the sporting world. Another 5 hours of live sport here on 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Good hands, that was Antonio. Gregory Aldred over the 10-metre line, gets the offload away to Francois, to Paul Boudahon, and they're up to the 22 now, France. Jalibert on the far side, then Penaud knocks it on. That was uncharacteristic. So England will get the scrum as tempers flare between Penaud and Slightholme. Slightholme the shorter man, but Stocky, he'll give as good as he gets. And we'll just wait for play to restart with a scrum as we go to Norwich Derby. Full time for you, Mark Webber.
Norwich 1, managerless Derby 1. An injury time penalty by sub Jerry Rates ended a 7-game losing streak for Derby. Norwich's Josh Sargent opened the scoring, 3 points in. That looked safe at that point, but then Marcus Harness was injured and the penalty was dispatched to make it Norwich 1, Derby 1.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Right, Matt Dawson, talk us through the last few minutes. Lots going on, but 0-0 after 15.
Yeah, and England are not hanging on, but they're doing a lot of defending because France are connected here, actually, aren't they? They're finding some amazing offloads. You're waiting for me to say that it's Aldry, it's Crowe, it's Dupont, it's Jalibert. It's not, it's Antonio, it's the tight head prop who's linking everything at the moment.
But one thing they've not done is been able to be clinical enough to finish something off, which, I mean, it's not a concern right now for France, but England have got to sense some sort of opportunity and try and take the game a little bit more to France, because France just don't seem quite with it. They've had 2-3 chances and they've coughed the ball up every single time, but England still haven't been able to get out of their 30 metres.
FA Cup 4th round today, Scottish Cup 5th round as we wait for this England scrum. Let's go to Livingston. Kenny Crawford.
Full time, Livingston 3, Cove Rangers 0. All the goals scored by Australians born in Adelaide. Defender Ryan McGowan turned in the first, and sub-tall striker Tete Yengi netted the other 2 into the bottom right hand corner. So Championship Livingston into the quarter-finals thanks to their men at work from down under. Livingston 3, Cove Rangers 0.
Nice one, Kenny. Celtic Wraith Rovers kicks off at 5:30. Gavin Wallace is all over that one for us. England win the scrum, free kick here, Matt Dawson, but possession, territory, number of tackles, England having to put their bodies on the line here.
Yeah, just having a look here, tackles made so far. France only 8 tackles, England 34. Yeah, that is exactly what took its toll in the game last week. The way that England are coming off the line, they are making some fantastic meterage, but it's going to take its toll over time. You just think England need to just pick up, here you go, another knock on for England, but pick up that scrap, pick up 3 points, pick up 7 points, get to 10, and all of a sudden, France are forcing it rather than flowing.
Let's go.
Right, going to be another scrum after Slade coughed up the high kick from Finn Smith, but the good news from an England point of view is they've gone from their own 22 up to the halfway line. So as we wait for this scrum, team news from Birmingham Newcastle, John Murray.
Well, Newcastle United make 9 changes from their semi-final winning team in the week. Only Guimaraes and Burns start from that side. Isak's a substitute, so Callum Wilson gets his first start of the season. Nick Pope is back in goal, and Birmingham are without Gardner Hickman, injured in training, so Leonard plays, as does Wright. Dykes and May are both substitutes, and Peacock Farrell plays in goal for them. It's the League One leaders against the new Carabao Cup finalists. 5:45 kick-off. Might be interesting.
Will be interesting. 40 minutes till kick-off there, John. So we'll throw to John Murray and Leon Osmond in about 35 minutes. on Sports Extra. Then we'll pick it up here on 5 Live when the rugby is finished. You just don't miss anything, whether on Sports Extra or 5 Live this afternoon. Kick through from Ramos. Marcus Smith in the backfield. Unfamiliar position of full-back, but he's shaping to counter-attack. Then he puts a kick through, and that's pretty composed stuff, or is it out on the full? What's your view of that, Paul Grayson, on the touchline?
Nice, I like that. Good tidying up from Smith, but it's straightforward for France. Win your set piece, move the ball into the outside channel, bend England's back three, push the ball in behind and say, deal with that. They're giving the ball away on their terms. England are the opposite. Every time they get possession, they cough it up somehow, knock on, loose kick. So France are exerting pressure, England doing the opposite.
France have it. Mo Afana on the halfway line from their line out. Dupont digs for the ball, as Matt Dawson predicted. We've not said his name too much yet, nothing flashy so far from the great man, but you feel he's just scanning all the time, and now he's looking for a big clearance kick to box England in, and even when he doesn't get it quite right, it still doesn't go all the way out, and it means England have to run it out from their own line. Not the best chase from France. Mitchell clears, but there are enough French in the backfield now to maybe counter-attack. One of them is Dupont, and he finds half-back partner Jalabert to Dupont, to Damien Penaud, who often goes on these mazy runs. He switches with Ramos. They're keeping it alive nicely here, France, and making a few metres, but England get the penalty at the breakdown. Tom Curry, who was great in that area last weekend, he is all over it, and England get the penalty, still inside their own half, but they'll be able to spend some rare and precious time in French territory. Let's go to Dundee full time. Jane Lewis.
Dundee 4, Adrionians 0. Dundee safely through to the last 8 of the Scottish Cup. All the goals came in the first half. Clark Robinson, Lyle Cameron grabbed 2 in between the Adi Wumi strike. Dundee safely through. Airdrie's Cup run is over here. It finished 4-0 to Dundee.
Thanks a lot, Jane, and I think we've got full time at Coventry as well. Charlie Slater.
We do. Ipswich are through. Job well done after making 11 changes. Goals from Hurst, Philogene and 2 from Clark cancel out Latabodier's early equaliser. Ipswich through to the 5th round for the first time since 2007. Coventry 1, Ipswich 4.
Thanks, Charlie. England have some ball now. Finn Smith, nice little pop to slide home his clubmate, who's off his wing and into the 22. England looking for the first points. We're almost 20 minutes in here at Twickenham. Good carry, Tom Willis. Now Mitchell, maybe catching the big French forwards on the edges. This is excellent from England as they go to within 5 now. They've got numbers to the right. Mitchell, Finn Smith, he throws a dummy. Marcus Smith was outside him. Only a few metres short now for Mitchell. He's got Slade, he's got Freeman, but he goes to the left. And it's trucked up by the forwards. They are under the French crossbar here. Can England show some composure and cutting edge? Out it comes now to Ollie Lawrence. Ollie Lawrence caught, but he's within 6. Then he gives the penalty away. No, it's actually the arriving players. They dive off their feet, and Damien Penaud is off. And Penaud is putting pace on this game. As England look to catch, and they do catch Penaud isolated. No, the referee's happy. And France have it through Jalabert. Jalabert out to Barassi, and now Biel-Biarri steps inside Freeman. Good tackle, Tommy Freeman. What a ball though to Ramos. Ramos got Dupont. Dupont drops it. Unbelievable. With the try line gaping. Antoine Dupont with his left hand couldn't gather it. And it's gone from 1 5-metre line to the other. England could have scored. France turned them over. We thought England had turned them over. And then Paul Grayson on the touchline. You saw a thrilling France breakout.
Yeah, absolutely. Started by Penaud with a quick tap. Thought he'd got himself in trouble and the Itoje nicked it. But then the ball popped out and off they went again. And you're about to mention Dupont. I'm sure, Chris, catching that ball and going under the sticks. But he put one hand out, and I think that's possibly the only mistake he's made in the last 18 months.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a bit of tiredness there with all the players all day long. That's 2 hands. And he's just run 70 yards on supporting lines. That would have been one of the tries in Six Nations history. That was absolutely epic.
What about Penaud just 20 minutes in under his own post? No, I'm tapping this, lads, we're off. Not consideration for anybody. It nearly resulted in magic, but they've had a few passes like that, France, where the handling if the handling had been just slightly better, they'd have scored 3 tries. I don't know if that's the weather, the ball conditions, they're just not crisp enough, and it's cost them 2 or 3 chances.
Well, is this 20 minutes of warning from France, or have they missed some big chances that might cost them? They've nicked England's line out, and they have it inside the English 22 through Moefana. Now Dupont digs for it. He's got options mainly to the right, and they drive it on through their forwards to France. 0-0, 21 minutes gone. Dupont, lovely little pump and then a give to Aldrit. Quick ball for France. Dupont lurking. Out it comes now as they drive to within 6 or 7, the men in blue. Miafu, what a giant he is, the second row. He's gone into the 5-metre area now for France. Moefana and Barassi out there. Moefana, oh, lovely little ball to Jalabert. Try surely coming for France. They've knocked it on again. Oh, Ramos and Biel-Biarri would have walked it in, but Penaud's lost it. His hands deserting him twice in this half.
Make the most of it, England. Make the most of these errors, because they just simply do not happen to world-class sides. England should be licking their lips here, defining little moments in games, and there have been 2 or 3, as Chris Ashton just mentioned, where, well, there's 2 walk-ins for France. Maybe they are the signs that you look back on.
Yeah, let's hope so. One thing that France have got, Miafu though, England have got that control to a certain point in defending, but Miafu just comes on a line and he's so big and heavy, you have to soak up the tackle, and he buys you 2-3 metres out of absolutely nothing. It just gets you going again and attack the French team, and then they can play off the back of it. I don't know what they're thinking here. They'd be so annoyed at themselves to not get converting one.
Paul Grayson on the touchline. It's wet, isn't it? But still, you expect France to gobble these up.
Yeah, absolutely. France will feel like they're 20 points up already, because, quite frankly, they should be. It's alarming the ease at which they're bending England's defence out of shape. Ash's point about being able to get momentum because you've got an absolute giant of a ball carrier in the second row is one thing. 2 phases later, England are opened up with way too much ease, and you can't see France continuing to drop the ball, but you can see France continuing to make space.
Yeah, they're going to have to execute one of these chances soon, the French. 22.5 minutes gone. They've been compelling minutes, but pointless, as England clear their lines through Mitchell, and that's better. Doesn't find touch, but just gets England out of their own 22. However, it does give Ramos a chance to run it back. Tom Curry is all over him. What a player Curry is, the England number 6 on his 58th cap for his country. His twin brother Ben on the bench, part of this England bench that simply has to make some impact in the second half. Dupont, slap bang on halfway, puts a kind of rubber kick through. He wanted Jalabert to chase. It was innovative, but it's back with England, and then Finn Smith puts another little kick through of his left, and Penaud, with his sort of idiosyncratic style, slopes back to pick it up, and he finds Ramos, who has a beautiful looking spiral but straight down the throat of Slade, who catches it like he's a boundary rider in cricket, and he sent it up to halfway. Matt Dawson.
Yeah, there's some tired bodies out there. I think week 2 of the Six Nations, everyone getting up to speed, but this has been just 100 miles an hour. Never mind old school pick and go and driving mauls. Not a chance. This is confrontational. This is skillful. Strategic, it's wide, it's frenetic. In these conditions, my goodness me, there's going to be people crawling with 10 minutes to go.
Voice of Matt Dawson, part of our team here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. World Cup winner Matt Dawson, World Cup winner Paul Grayson on the touchline, one of English rugby's greatest ever wingers. Chris Ashton with us as well, had a spell in France and smashed the top 14 try scoring record for good measure, as Dupont puts up a box kick. It's a horrible one for England. They don't take it, but France do knock it on, so England will have the scrum.
But they're in, England are getting the scrum, but they're always, it's like 30 metres out, 35 metres out. The calls that you have to go through if you're England are, they're more risky, they're more defensive than what we saw that attacking line out, Chris, when England got towards the French line.
Yeah, England haven't fired a shot really. They got into the 22 once and looked really threatening until they got turned over after a few phases. But apart from that, they've not been able to get themselves any sort of attacking ball. France have just done so well in pinning England back. They've left their half once so far in this first half.
It's rope-a-dope rugby for England, isn't it? And we've seen it a lot the last 18 months. They did it in New Zealand. They hung in games really well, but then do they have the ability to then hit a few knockout blows of their own? Because otherwise you just do what you do in Dublin and kind of getting punched out. As
and we're looking for the bench to do that,
yeah,
ultimately,
for sure.
aren't we?
England have it through Mitchell. Inside their own half, England. Slade, Finn Smith juggling with it. It's not fluid. So Marcus Smith goes to kick, and it's charged down by the boot of Barassi. And Alex Mitchell's in loads of bother here. Great pick up, Mitchell. Oh, he's done unbelievably well. How's he got out of that? The Northampton number 9. He has got out of it, and England have it. But there was just kind of no fluency to that move from England, juggling with the ball in these damp Twickenham conditions. Still 0-0 though. And while the score is close, England are well in this game, even though France have absolutely bossed territory and possession. Mitchell gets a decent clearance kick down the line where Ramos takes it. Doesn't quite go out of play. He wants to work the short side. He switches with Penaud, who manages to break tackles incredibly well, the right winger. Dupont into centre field. Rumour, lovely tip on, and Gross, the loose head, has gone storming almost up to the 22. Therefore, Dupont. Now Jalibert. Out the back it comes to Ramos. Ramos has Tommy Freeman there, the right winger. Has a bit of a roll, Ramos. England doing okay in defence on this set. So Boudehont, the open side flanker for France, carries it up. Dupont to the right now. Little tip on from Grove to his tight head partner Antonio. Now they may have numbers, and they lose it again, France. Biel-Biarri came from the left wing to the right. Jalibert went to kick. It's really messy on that far side, but I think England have it back. Paul Grayson on the touchline. Your view of England's attack and then France's.
Yeah, England have not worked through the phases accurately, apart from the time they were in the 22 and they nearly scored. It was pedestrian at best after a collapsed scrum. They would have had a play called. It took so long to get the ball out to Marcus Smith. It's almost impossible for him to get his kick away.
He gets his kick away this time, but Ramos is covering that backfield brilliantly, and he might have numbers here to counter-attack Thomas Ramos. Boudehont, who's everywhere the open side, but England are on that ball. They're going to get a penalty here. Yes, they are. Tom Curry, as usual, was in there, and that'll be a really encouraging set actually for Steve Borthwick, because France's attack wasn't as dangerous as it has been, and England win the penalty and now will be able to go into French territory.
Well, it was actually just the wrong option from Ramos at the back. I think Chris Ashton, you see these back three players when you sit next to them, they just got on the edge of their seat when they see those opportunities, and Ashley was like, oh, here we go, France are off and running, but unfortunately just took the wrong option, isolated themselves, and England pounced. But to Grace's point, Chris, England, when they are playing, even when they're trying to play out, it's just, the passes are slightly behind, or it's a little bit end over end, it's a bit slow, it's a bit, there's no fizz to the attack when they're in the space.
Chris Ashton, England have got a good set-piece opportunity here, though, as Cowan-Dickie prepares to throw.
Yeah, first real chance off a liner, and they've turned it over. You can't work so hard to get down here. Kick chase, penalty, and then cough it up like that.
England's line out these first 2 rounds of the Six Nations, I know they're a jump or two short, but just isn't giving them any kind of platform, as Dupont puts a little chip through. Ben Earl has covered that nicely, the open side. He's caught by Louis Biel-Biarri, but he's on his own 10-metre line, is Earl. Right, what do England have here where the ball is slow and they're in the wrong part of the pitch? You'd imagine they'll go to the boot, and it's again slightly isolated, but gets a good ball away to Curry, far side, almost up to the halfway line. Lawrence helps out Tom Curry. Still 0-0 if you're just joining us on 5 Live and on Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Almost half an hour gone, and we've yet to have a score in this first half, even though France have on countless occasions knocked the ball on when the try line was begging. Well, England have given that to France because there was no ruck, and now Malbaka with a very casual flick that goes to ground. Dupont picks it up. Dupont tries to get away from Finn Smith, and he does. He goes inside brilliantly to Penaud. Penaud kicks for Biel-Biarri. Willis sits up. Oh, what a try that is! How clinical! What class from the French! Dupont's vision, Penaud's vision, Biel-Biarri's finish, and France lead at Twickenham.
I'm not sure what happened. It felt to me that an England player's just passed it or kicked it straight to the Frenchman, to Penaud, and therefore, England are all over the place. Not their own fault, it's just broken field. Needless to say, Antoine Dupont is right in the thick of it. Looks like he's running out of space. Sees the vision back on the inside, and it was a nice finish, but that's England's undoing from the off.
I think it's been coming, hasn't it? We've all spoken about how many opportunities they've missed. Miapu's offload to the deck. Antoine Dupont, what you're doing, I will sort this out. Straightens everything up, finds the right pass in the middle.
Ramos kicks the goal, Ashi.
But I mean, the description of a nice finish, Dawes, I think it was an unbelievable touch from Penaud to put it through so delicately for his wing teammate. Just on the money, a lovely 5-metre Dutch through. It was a 2-on-2. It was completely the right decision from Penaud, and it couldn't have bounced up any more perfect. I think we felt this was coming at some point.
I mean, everybody from Tom Curry to probably, I don't know, Ellis Genge and Antonio are doing this little grubber through. The ball is like a bar of soap. You only need to look at both scrum half. They have yet to pass the ball in a spiral. It's just been dead ducks and wobbling ball. It must be a bar of soap.
Aldridge sets it up. Paul Grayson on the touchline. Came out in a very peculiar manner where France got on that loose ball when England were in possession, but what a brilliant bit of skill from a few French players.
Yeah, it was sensational once Dupont had done the mopping up, but England have gone to the skies for contestable kicks about 4 times. Freeman and Slightso going for it one-handed, flapping it back when there's an opportunity to catch and maintain possession.
Well, Marcus Smith has got away, and he almost linked with Freeman, who loses it. To Matt Dawson's point, the handling errors through the roof, both teams. I think we're looking at 6 from France and about 5 from England. But a bit of an opening there for England, Chris Ashton. Marcus Smith showing his threat in the wide channels. Almost got the ball away, and it might be that England are going to get the scrum because Biel Biarri knocked it on trying to intercept.
Yeah, you've got to take these chances if you're England. For all the possession and territory that France have had, it's still 7-0. You get one shot, it's almost like a counter-attack score in football. Just have a shot, score, you're back in the game automatically. England have definitely got the players to be able to do that. They just, when they get down here, just spend some time here. They haven't been down here at all in the French half. Just don't be in a rush to score a try. Just let's spend the next 3-4 minutes in the France half.
I mean, points are like 1.5 times today. These conditions, you're not just all of a sudden going to attack from your own 22 and score a try. 7 points, 10 points, 13 points are like gold dust today.
Swing speed chariot around Twickenham. England 0, France 7. 7 minutes to go until half time. The try from Louis Biel Biarri, his 13th for his country in his 16th game. What a strike rate. Freeman's off his wing. Good carry, Tommy Freeman up to the 22. There for Mitchell, his clubmate. Another Saint in Finn Smith. Just dribbles it through. Clearly a tactic, and France have struggled to collect that cleanly. Ramos at the bottom of the ruck. Big counter up. That's excellent from England. They're going to get a turnover here. Or are they? No. Somehow France have got that back, and Dupont whacks it clear. How did England not turn that ball over? Looked like they had France on toast at that run. Real space for Slade. Freeman's on the right touchline. Henry Slade looking to link with Tommy Freeman, who comes short. Good power, Freeman. Can he get the offload away? He can to Mitchell. Mitchell kicks for himself, and France take it dead. 5-metre scrum. England much better from the men in white.
Another little grubber for you there, Rashi. Everybody's at it, but that's the broken field that we thought England would be able to show their skills, their danger, their playmakers. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure how England didn't win that counter ruck.
It's like they all walked over the ball actually and then forgot to pick it up.
I didn't want to see the kick go through. I wanted to see England go through some phases, but obviously the idea from England is kick it through, put them under pressure, play off the counter-attack ball with Marcus Smith, Henry Slade at the back. Freeman hit a great line here on this right-hand touchline to get half a gap. Mitchell followed it up. Mitchell's done some running there. He was over there. He's managed to come and pick up the ball on this touchline, nearly turn it into a try. So we definitely know the game plan of England is counter-punch, not go through phases, create chaos and then play off the back of it.
Well, England won't get too many better opportunities. Talk us through their options here, Paul Grayson. 5-metre scrum, 5 metres in from the touchline.
Yeah, I think they might have a double bite at the French pack. They may be a little bit leggy, the men in blue. expect it to be held in for a couple of seconds and then rinse and repeat what they did from the last scrum. Tommy Freeman off his right wing, he is a big bloke running straight at Jalibert. See if he can get him. If he can't score, get him on the front foot, pick and drive. England score, convert, 7-all.
Right, let's see if you've called it. Therefore, Mitchell, Tommy Freeman, he jinks nicely and goes to within a metre or two. Can England execute? Tom Willis up to the line. France all over him, but still there for England, and Mitchell and Freeman, who's in the game a lot, the right winger. He's up to the line. He couldn't be much closer, Tommy Freeman. A few forwards are there from England. Itoje, the skipper. Oh, great defence from Budaholt, the flanker, but still there for England. With a couple of minutes left of this exhilarating first half, they've got penalty advantage as the forwards drive again. Composure, the order of the day. They've got playmakers out wide, but they're going to try and keep it tight, are they? Genge, round the corner come England, still with the forwards. Now they're folding to the left. The offload is loose. Curry loses it. Great pick-up, Finn Smith. How did he do that? Ollie Lawrence is under the post, and England are going level. They might check the loose ball. Curry lost it, batted it back to Finn Smith. Brilliant hands. Ollie Lawrence in, and England are going to go in at half-time at 7-all at this rate.
We mentioned rope-a-dope earlier. I'm not sure who Muhammad Ali is in this fight. France are on the floor. They are absolutely shattered. And England have just pounced at the right time. They've taken the opportunity.
Try awarded. Ollie Lawrence and England on the board. Marcus Smith won't miss this. Chris Ashton and Matt Dawson.
Oh, they got through the phases really well there, England. Just Tommy Freeman had 3-4 carries in that bit of play, and because of the advantage they were able to play off the back of it with a bit more freedom. But Ollie Lawrence, the handoff on Ramos had absolutely no interest in trying to tackle Lawrence and scoring, and it does seem as though the French are just a little bit lacklustre, even getting back to the halfway line here. We see a slow walk. You'd think they've got a sin-binned player or something like that. Just not quite with it, the French.
Paul Grayson on the touchline, your verdict?
Yeah, not massively different to the way I called it. Freeman was only meant to carry it once. He carried it 3 times in that passage, and then when they got the little break with the bouncing ball, the defences stopped. Ollie Lawrence with a good finish, 7-all. We spoke in pre-match about where England wanted to be after 40 minutes. Level on the scoreboard, not taking on a bit of water, but not too much. They'll be happy.
Well, after that first 20, when France were really bossing things, England 7, France 7, under 3 minutes to go till half-time. Who is going to strike before the break, if anyone? England get a penalty. And such a fascinating game, isn't it, when the momentum swings and ebbs and flows, and now England and the crowd seems to be riding this momentum, and that penalty, not kickable, Matt Dawson, but a chance for England to spend the last few minutes of this half in French territory.
Well, listen, as we've mentioned here, France they're taking on just as much water as England are here. They are hands on knees, hands on heads, bending over. They are sucking the air out of Allianz Stadium as much as they possibly can. And of course, what happens when you're knackered? You start making silly decisions. France didn't need to do any kind of screening. It was an easy ball for Ramos. Just lost his mind. And has given a sloppy penalty away. Easy pickings for England.
England win the line out at the front. Alex Mitchell, Tom Curry loses it, and France, oh my, Dupont's done a reverse spin pass there, and Ramos is off. They're going to go from anywhere, the French. I think advantage might be over. Willis has ripped it. Oh, Nick Ramashikeli said no advantage. That was a generous advantage, given it was only a knock-on.
Just get a sense that the French backs are kind of half going into those challenges up the middle, because they know the England forwards are banging people back. Ramos hesitated slightly going into the contact because he saw Willis in front of him, which is a great sign for England. It means they're having the tackling in the midfield is having a real impact on the French backs, being confident and carrying the ball.
Well, the danger here is we are a minute away from half time. There is not a chance that the French coaches have not seen what Chris Ashton has just been speaking about, and you have to assume, Grace, that is going to change because France are getting too many opportunities but are making the wrong options.
They'll get it fed to them at half-time by the coaches. I would think they've been profligate. They play brilliant rugby, but they've been absolutely profligate, the French. They should be, they should have 21 points on the board at least in this first half, and yet here they are under pressure.
Dupont, 22, out to Jalabert. Jalabert kicks, and Grace. Fabien Galtier's come down to the touchline. Right by you, what a kick that is from France up to the 22.
Arms folded. He's just stroking his chin like an evil villain in a Bond film. And he looks mad. I mean, he does look a bit bonkers with those glasses, but he looks an angry man, and rightly so. I think the offload, was it Movac or Moefan in the middle of the pitch that led to the try, but was just thrown behind him carelessly on the floor, has kind of summed up that little bit of French attitude. They've been absolutely brilliant, but very wasteful.
Yeah, too casual at times, the French. And England, having soaked up that pressure, again their line out is scruffy, but the clock is dead, so England just got to get this out for half time, and they will take 7-all all day long. Mitchell pops it into the stand, and that is it for half time. England 7, France 7. Right. After a couple of missed opportunities, France got on the board. A beautifully executed try from Louis Biel-Biarritz, the boy wonder. Ramos, who missed an early penalty, whacked it over from the touchline. It looked like France had unstoppable momentum, but England came back, got some field position, went to work on the 5-metre line, and then Ollie Lawrence shrugging off a Frenchman to score under the post. Marcus Smith couldn't miss. And at half-time, Mark Chapman, England 7, France 7.
France will be fuming with themselves, won't they, Matt?
I mean, I don't think the players have probably got the energy to be fuming with themselves as the World Cup, but the coaches will be. I mean, people like Gaultier and Sean Edwards particularly will be pacing around, sweating profusely in that changing room, thinking, I want to give these boys an absolute rocket, but they'll have to judge whether they really need to, or try and get it across in a way that will just calm things down and make it very obvious and easy, because France are looking very, very dangerous. I think we've gone through plenty of examples of where they should have been scoring tries, and it looks like their pattern is creating real problems for England. They just need to link in that last one or two phases, those last one or two passes. But from England's perspective, we're not going to get down on England here. They have defended like their lives depend on it, and then when they've had opportunities, and there's only been two, they've taken one.
Defended and hung in there and ridden that little bit of luck, which any team needs to do, Chris Ashton. And then the graphic I saw for the last 10 minutes, they had 70% of the possession compared to 30% for the French.
Yeah, well, did we not see Leicester City win a Premier League doing this? Just counter-attack, kick it to Vardy and score the goal. If England get the opportunity, just take it and defend. I think that's how we're going to get through this game, is put pressure, put a little kick through, put pressure on France, expect them to kick back to us and play off the back of it. I'm not necessarily going to build any amazing phase play and tries to beat them, but France I think they've got to just wipe their mindset now. Don't think, we should have done this. Just forget it. It's 7-all. You're in a test match. They've got to find a way to win it.
Would you like Leicester fans to get in touch with you on social media after that rather rudimentary analysis of their title-winning team? Yeah.
Am I wrong, Chappers? Was I wrong? Sorry.
I mean, slightly harsh on some of the other players that may have been involved in that title. Right.
Defence was very good too.
It was, yeah. Back with Chris and Matt and Chris and Paul for the second half. England 7, France 7 at the break. Earlier, Wales beaten 22-15 in Rome against Italy. We'll have some reaction to that. We'll hear from Warren Gatland during half-time. A couple of the FA Cup matches have gone to extra time and heading towards penalties. We'll start at Stoke. Pat Murphy.
3-3 against Cardiff. We've got 3 minutes and 10 seconds plus whatever is going to be added. All square here. I can't really separate the two, although Berger for Stoke, the best player in the park for me, the tall, angular Berger, such a good pass of the ball, favoured left foot, he was through, hit the side netting, should have scored. Alves at the other end, highly promising young Leicester City player on loan, he was just crowded out when he'd drawn a beard on the keeper. We got about 3 minutes to go and the crowd really enjoyed it, only 12,000, but a fine game of football. It's 3-3
Gone to penalties at Deepdale as well. If memory serves me right, Preston went to penalties in the Carabao Cup this year, I think against Fulham, and it ended something like 16-15. So the quality of penalties was phenomenal that night. So you could be in for another half hour or so there, Sandy.
I have several sheets of A4, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, 11 places in one division, but nothing can separate these two on the pitch. What I would say is it's Mike Dodd's first game in charge of Wycombe Wanderers, and he must have been so impressed with his Wycombe side. They have matched Preston toe for toe, although North End have had the better chances right at the end of normal time. Sam Greenwood hitting the post with a cross, but we're off to penalties.
So we'll keep you updated with that. Earlier in the Women's FA Cup, Aston Villa beat Brighton 3-2. Holders Manchester United are at Wolves. This was a 5:15 kickoff. Ross Heaton.
Well, it's Wolves 0, Manchester United 0. The visitors very much on top so far, and despite the opportunity to switch this game to Molineux, the part-timers from the third tier have chosen to keep this tie here at AFC Telford, where they've been watched by a near sell-out crowd of over 5,000. Their star-studded opponents currently sit second in the WSL, but neither retaining this trophy is their only realistic chance of silverware this season. They're looking to complete a Black Country double after thumping West Brom 7-0 in the last round. And in response to comments by pundits elsewhere in the media this week, United fans have held up cards with "We care" on the front as well. 19 minutes gone, Wolves 0, Manchester United 0.
In the Scottish Cup last night, Hibs beat Ayr. This afternoon, Dundee 4, Airdrieonians 0, Livingston 3, Cove Rangers 0, St Johnstone 1, Hamilton 0. They're underway at Celtic. Wraith are their opponents. Gavin Wallace.
They are indeed underway, and they've just scored just before you came to me. Dyson made it just at the edge of the box, Mark. It was a lovely bit of build-up play. A couple of give and goes in there as well, and he slotted it well beyond Josh Ray onto his bottom right-hand side. By the way, just to let you know, the team news tonight was there are only two players that have started from that 6-0 demolition midweek of Dundee. McGregor and Maeda, the only two, and on loan from Crystal Palace, Jeffrey Schultz starts as well, as Celtic are on course to retain. They're 1-0 against Wraith Rovers.
Back to the FA Cup. Earlier, Manchester City came from a goal down to win 2-1 at Leyton Orient. Millwall won at Leeds 2-0. In the 3 o'clocks, Coventry 1, Ipswich 4, Everton 0, Bournemouth 2, Southampton 0, Burnley 1, and Wigan 1, Fulham 2. We'll have reaction to some of those games during half-time at Twickenham. The 5:45 kickoff you can watch on BBC One, or you can listen to on Sports Extra. Birmingham against Newcastle. John Murray.
Well, Birmingham City is one of the feel-good places to come and watch football in this country right now. Top of League One, unbeaten since November. They've lost only 3 times in total this season. So for Newcastle United, 3 days after reaching the Carabao Cup final, this is a proper test of whether Eddie Howe has got the message across to his players that their focus has got to be absolutely right for this one. He makes 9 changes from the semi-final winning team, so only Bruno Guimaraes and Dan Burn start from that side. Isak is among the substitutes, so's Tonali, but Callum Wilson gets his first start of the season. Nick Pope is back in goal, and as for Birmingham, they've lost Taylor Gardner-Hickman, injured in training. That's quite a big loss for them. He's been excellent this season. So Leonard plays, as does Wright. He's got Dykes and May on the bench. Obviously Stansfield, the top scorer, is in the team, and Peacock Farrell plays in goal for this one. The atmosphere, Mark, is building very, very nicely here.
Stoke and Cardiff has finished, so that will go to penalties as well, just like Preston and Wycombe. If you're listening on Sports Extra right now, then in a couple of minutes, commentary of Birmingham against Newcastle with John and Leon Osman will take over on Sports Extra. So if you want the rugby and you're on Sports Extra, switch to 5 Live, because we'll have the second half of England-France, which is level at 7-7. And then the football will come on to 5 Live after that. But we'll head back to Twickenham for the second half. Bit of reaction to the day's FA Cup, and Warren Gatland as well on the way after Richard Foster.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Six Nations.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Good evening. The Israeli President Isaac Herzog says the condition of the latest 3 hostages released by Hamas is a crime against humanity. Ohed Ben Ami, Or Levi and Eli Sharabi were all handed over to the Red Cross earlier, looking gaunt after Hamas fighters paraded them on a stage. Israel freed 183 Palestinian prisoners in return. Hundreds of people have been marching through Sheffield in memory of a 15-year-old boy who died after being stabbed at school. Another 15-year-old appeared in court, charged with murdering Harvey Wilgoose, who was a pupil at All Saints Catholic School. The son of a Scottish woman who was found dead with her husband in France yesterday says his family are mourning their loss. Dawn Searle's son is the Hollyoaks and Netflix actor Callum Kerr. He's issued a statement on social media on behalf of the couple's 4 shared children. A judge in the US has blocked the government from accessing personal and financial information of Americans stored at the Treasury. Another judge has also stopped President Trump's attempt to place thousands of US AID staff on leave. And cannabis worth £150,000 has been seized by police in North Lanarkshire. The drugs were recovered after a man and a woman were searched on a street in Motherwell.
What does it take to go racing in the fastest cars in the world? Oscar Piastri.
Your head's trying to get roofed one way, your body's trying to go another.
Lance Stroll.
It's very extreme in the sense on how close you're racing wheel to wheel.
We've been given unprecedented access to 2 of the most famous names in Formula One, McLaren and Aston Martin.
I'm Lando Norris, racing driver for McLaren Formula One team.
They opened the doors to their factories as the 2024 season reached its peak.
They work to build a beautiful bit of machinery that I get to then go and have fun in.
I'm Josh Hartnett. This is F1 Back at Base. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Let's bring you some reaction to the day's FA Cup football then. Bournemouth through to the next round after winning 2-0 at Goodison. Here's Andoni Iraola with Conor McNamara.
Andoni, congratulations. Very hard-working performance, and after the defeat to Liverpool, I'm sure you're delighted to be back to winning ways.
Yes, very good result for us. No, I think it was a very fought match, different halves. I think we were better in the first half. I think we played really well on the ball. We were recovering the ball also in dangerous positions, transitioning well, and I think we made the difference. Second half, I think Everton pressed us a lot. They pushed us. They went more direct, set plays, and we were defending more time. But I think we've in a different way, but also competed really well in the second half.
Your team has rightly got a lot of praise this season, and people now will fancy you to progress in this competition. Do you think that expectancy will bring the best out of your players?
I think this is the cup, and every game is very difficult. You earn the right, every game to play one more. Now we have the right to play one more. Let's see the draw. We have the experience from past season when we lost in the next round in the extra time, and we lost the chance not to play quarterfinal. That starts to sound very, very nice. And let's see if this season we are able to improve what we did past season and go one step forward. Yes.
I did say that in the Carabao Cup, the penalties were really good at Preston. So far, they've missed 1 of their first 4. Wycombe have missed 2 of their first 3. So 3-2 to Preston with Wycombe's 4th on the way. Ipswich into the 5th round of the FA Cup for the first time since 2007 after a 4-1 win at Coventry. Jack Clark got 2 of the goals.
Jack, was there a sense out there that it was actually nice to get away from the pressures of the Premier League? Because the whole team seemed to play with a great deal of freedom today.
Sometimes, yeah, there's always an element of that in terms of like new boys playing and getting an opportunity to obviously showcase what we can do together and what we've been working on. And then, yeah, like you said, just taking a bit of pressure off from the league games and just trying to enjoy the game.
Really happy afternoon for you as well. Talk us through your 2 goals because they were both beautifully taken.
Yeah, first one just opened up nicely and obviously took the shot on. And the second one, I'm not sure how it ended up at me, but just right place, right time sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm happy with him.
And is this the kind of performance, a different team, 11 changes today, but these guys who played today can take confidence now back into the Premier League and back into training next week even?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just shows that we're all working really hard behind the scenes and that we've all got to be ready at any point. And I think we showed that today in terms of, like you said, 11 changes and still managing to put in a good performance. And, like I said, just a collective, everybody working hard and training well every day.
Penalty shootout is over at Deepdale. Which way, Sandy?
It's gone to Preston North End. Preston 4, Wycombe 2 on penalties. Freddie Woodman, the Preston keeper, saving 2. Ched Evans scoring the winner. Preston through to the next round. They've won 4-2 on penalties here at Deepdale.
Opening goal in the Women's FA Cup, Ross Heaton.
And it is the FA Cup holders who have the lead against their third-tier host. A far post tap-in from Elizabeth Turland after a slick move down the right, ruthlessly dispatched. 27 minutes gone. Wolves 0, Manchester United 1.
As I said, Stoke and Cardiff has gone to a penalty shootout. Both have scored 1, both have missed 1 after the first 2. Let's hear from Warren Gatland then. His Welsh side suffering a 14th successive defeat. 22-15 they were beaten in Italy.
Very frustrating from our point of view. As a watch, probably shot ourselves in the foot in terms of the penalty count being 14-4. I know we got a few at the end, and missed a couple of opportunities that we created and didn't finish off. So it was very frustrating.
Given that the two things you asked for in the week were accuracy and discipline, and you've cited both of those just then as the reasons for your undoing, is it a messaging issue?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we've been pretty clear on the messaging and stuff with the players, but when you look back in some of the replays and just think it's a couple of soft penalties that were given away, a couple of kick chases where we were high, offside, a couple of breakdowns and stuff. So. Yeah, and probably a scrum wasn't as effective as it needed to be in the first half as well. So, but then we created a few opportunities as well, and a bit unlucky in terms of Josh Adams had a couple of chances, and so look, it's very disappointing.
You can watch the highlights of all the Six Nations games, BBC One tomorrow night, 10:30, Scotland, Ireland, of course, tomorrow afternoon, which you can listen to here on 5 Live and watch on BBC Television. There'll be plenty of reaction, though, on the Rugby Union Weekly throughout the course of the week with Chris Jones and the team. And before we head back to Twickenham, the latest on the penalty shootout at Stoke, Pat Murphy.
Cardiff are leading 3-1. And Burgers coming up now to take Stoke's penalty. There's been some splendid saves. The top of the bar's been hit and the outside of the post also. So Cardiff 3-1 up at this juncture.
OK, we'll let you know what happens there. All to play for in the second half at Twickenham. England 7, France 7 at the break. They're about to get underway. Here's Chris Jones.
Yeah, all to play for. Deadlocked. England 7, France 7. 40 minutes to go. Mathieu Jalibert prepares to restart for France. Nika Amishakeli, the referee, having a look at England, having a look at France, and then he says, let's go to work. What does this next 40 have in store? And can England at last get over the line in a tight one? It's been 7 narrow defeats in a row against the big boys, but all defeats. And Alex Mitchell hooks the ball up to the 10-metre line, giving France a line out, run in front of us, Matt Dawson. Just exactly 10 metres inside the England half.
Yeah, fascinating to see how both these teams start, because it's going to be key. Any kind of early points, it's going to be a mountain.
They've almost got away here, France. Barassi, great offload to Penaud, and Penaud's up to the 22. England come through. They knock the ball on as they try to steal, but France just playing with real intent there, right from the off, as if Fabien Galtier, who was stewing on the touchline, gave them a rocket. They then knock it on through Rouma, but referee Amishakeli, a bit like in the first half, gave a reasonably long advantage. You were saying France looked very narrow there, but their backs incisive with the first phase possession, Matt.
So tight. France came out in those from the initial break in the back line. Penaud going through, but Paul Grayson, I don't know where you're in position down there already, where you could see it was on that far side, but all of a sudden France looked like you could throw a blanket over the whole team.
Yeah, maybe that's the message, Dorse, at half-time. Straighten things up, go through the guts, use their big runners and be direct and hang on to the ball. It worked. They broke England down, and but ultimately knocked it on. Interesting, they had Meafu out of the line-out, set him up as a carrier and used him as a decoy. He is a monstrous human.
Well, a few of our games have gone to penalties, and it's all over at Stoke for you, Pat Murphy.
Cardiff have won 4-2 on penalties, a crucial one, the last one. Ruben Colwell had already scored 2 goals, brilliantly taken a right-footed penalty. So Cardiff go through. That'll please you, Jones, boyo.
Thanks a lot, Pat. Right. John Southall, early goal at St Andrews in our Sports Extra game.
What about this lift off at St Andrews? Birmingham 1, Newcastle 0. Came within the opening minute of the game. Corner was nodded back to Ethan Laird, 6 yards out, and he finished it off. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 0.
Thanks a lot, John. John Murray, another John, is with Leon Osman over on Sports Extra, but John Southall will keep us updated here on 5 Live before we join John Murray and Leon Osman at the conclusion of this game at Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. And there's more FA Cup commentary tonight. Brighton against Chelsea with Lee Blakeman and Matt Jarvis. 8 o'clock kickoff. So live sport all the way through to 10 o'clock. Another 4 hours and a bit of it. 2 minutes into the second half. France possession. Dupont feeds. Aldridge, he comes around the corner. Aldridge, and he runs straight into Alex Mitchell at Woods England scrum half, who's a little bit isolated there. Then they carry through Meafu, making ground there, and Dupont through the middle. Itoje's all over him, so too Curry. Triple marking Antoine Dupont, but the ball's popped out, and England could have got away there, but it didn't quite get a hand. Alex Mitchell through a dummy, then kicks, and England are herring after that. Tommy Freeman in pursuit. Here's Damien Peto. He loves these broken field positions, but he kicks. That's a feather in the England cap. Down the throat of Marcus Smith, 10-metre line. Is he going to run it back? Onto the halfway line he goes, and he's lost it, and Biel Biarri's going to score. How on earth did that happen? Massive moment here as Biel Biarri steps inside, offloads to Malbaka, who loses it. Oh, credit Ollie Slightholme, unbelievable defence, and Slightholme is off, and he kicks down the line. What is going on here? It's still 7-all. We thought Biel Biarri was in, but Slightholme, Chris Ashton, showed unbelievable pace to hunt the flyer down.
He did. I think the French youngster thought he was going to just gallop into the corner. Slightholme dropped the hammer, picked him up in no time at all. It was a great steal from Biel Biarri to get away, and he just almost took it for granted up the touchline. And again, casual as you like from the French. I don't know what. Is it a lack of respect for the English team? I'm not sure, but they are so nonchalant when they're getting close to try-scoring chances that they're just throwing them up.
And it's still 7-all at England. Oh, this line-out's becoming an issue. I wonder when Ollie Chesson comes on, you'd feel imminently to try and shore it up. As Dupont has it halfway line, good step and offload. That's lovely from France. Mo Afana's away. This is dangerous. But Barassi couldn't link, and England do well, and Tom Curry is causing mischief, and then France knock it on. So it's exactly like the first half, Matt Dawson. All France, but England hanging on and forcing mistakes.
Well, England are gambling as well, which I love to see, because they know they have to stop the world's best player at source. And even when France have got momentum in some of those rucks, on this occasion, Tom Curry defensively at the ball made a right proper nuisance of himself, and then forces Antoine Dupont to try and flick out a ball to his forwards, and it was a bit of a tricky one. Down it goes. It was down by his knee. They're just being a nuisance, England, at the moment. They're going to get their chance. They are going to get an opportunity, because I think, as Chris Ashton has just mentioned, France are just off with their accuracy. I think they still think they're down in the south of France somewhere, just playing some, lovely, firm, fast ground. They're playing in a style which, it's just not conducive to these conditions to play like that all the time. You've got to pick your moment.
I just can't get over how Biel Biarri did not think to just go himself or just keep hold of the ball, having what's happened at half-time and probably the rocket they've had at half-time, to then do it again straight away. It just seems like the mindset is just not fully with it in this game so far.
The voice of Chris Ashton, who you feel would not have let anyone chase him down in that situation. Little crossfield kick from England. Marcus Smith, decent enough territory gain, and France will throw into the line out 10 metres inside their own half. So Paul Grayson, a little bit of field position for England. 7-all, 5.5 into the second half.
Yeah, don't mind that. There's 5 minutes of absolute madness there, wasn't there? Ball end-to-end stuff. France could have scored yet another try. Extreme pace, Ollie Slightholme. That's how not many people would be able to run down Biel Biarri in that situation. He is lightning quick, Ollie Slightholme. Great recovery from him. England nice and calm for the moment.
France throw to the tail, still 7-all, despite France having nearly 60% of possession and loads of territory. It is still all square at 7 points all as Dupont clear, so a chance for us to go to the Women's FA Cup fifth round. You've got a goal at Wolves, Ross Heaton.
And Manchester United have doubled their lead against their part-time host. Leah Galton with a right footer into the bottom corner, which caught the keeper cold. 36 minutes gone. Wolves 0, Manchester United 2.
Thanks a lot, Ross. England have it, but in their own territory, just outside their own 22. Mitchell digs for the ball. You feel this is where England won't hesitate to get rid of it. Decent enough bust though from the England forwards. Are they going to lose? They very nearly lost the ball there at the breakdown, but still there for England and Alex Mitchell, who you would imagine will go to the skies. He's got Ben Earl and Tommy Freeman to chase this one down. He does kick a little bit too long, so Easy enough for Mathieu Jalibert, who will work this short side. Lovely ball to Biarri, who chipped ahead. Ben Earl takes it, linked well with Finn Smith. Good ball to Marcus Smith. Twickenham want to see a run. Marcus Smith looks for territory, but kicks it to Penaud, and Penaud prods it down the touchline. Marcus Smith working really hard in the backfield, wearing 15 today. And will he kick or will he dot it down for a goal line? I think he's going to have to dot it down for a goal line. Chris Ashton.
Some of Marcus's kicks in the backfield have been really chancy. They've not ended up being a real negative so far. I think because of the weather, Penaud, the French backs, have not been able to confidently catch the ball and just attack the England defence straight back. So the weather's hampered him slightly, but some of the kicks are risky. Kicking that crossfield straight to Penaud is the last man on this pitch that you want to kick that ball to.
Finn Smith with the dropout. England 7, France 7, 8 minutes into the second half here. 5 live from the BBC. BBC Sounds on your mobile, on online, on your smart speaker. We're all across the country in Scotland with the FA Cup, with the Scottish Cup, with games up and down the Football League. We've got a live commentary later from Brighton at 8 o'clock. We've got live commentary now on Sports Extra as England give a penalty away and Matt Dawson hammers the desk. It's going to be bang in front for Ramos as the Toje hauls down Boudehont, the open side flanker for France. Foster Pont got up his sleeve with this penalty advantage. Decent enough from France down this right touchline, Penaud, but England managing to keep them at bay for now, and there is no advantage, says the referee. So a penalty, Matt Dawson, to France, bang in front. Ramos, you would imagine, will put France into the lead from the tee.
Okay, Iraq shifted.
Just.
Sorry, no.
Oh, come on, man.
I tell you
what.
what.
Here for.
I tell you what, ref, you need to quicken up, pal. I mean,
It's up to you, isn't it? Okay, sorry.
Quick tap penalty from Dupont, who took it exactly from the mark, and the referee said you weren't on the mark, it's over here, and then he brought him back to the mark, exactly where Antoine Dupont took the penalty. Come on, ref, sharpen up, the game's fast.
I think that's what England have been really good at so far. We're only on 3 penalties conceded from England so far, which has been so important to keeping France from getting in any free plays and really comfortable at attacking.
Are you happy to go? Yeah, okay, thanks.
But again, just far too easy there for France, and had they scored a couple of the tries, you can't but feel this might be going in the corner, but this one's going over the posts.
It's two. It was one in the first half as well, wasn't it? 40 metres out. Was it? I know Ramos missed the kick, but unnecessary penalties.
Ramos then slap bang in front. He missed the sitter in the first half. He doesn't miss it this time. A kicker that good doesn't miss twice. England 7, France 10. Paul Grayson on the touchline.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because you look at the scoreboard now. France kicked the penalty to go 10-7 up. They've got the reverse try bonus point. I think they've missed 4 clear try-scoring opportunities over the course of this game, which is why England don't need to give penalties away, because France are dropping the ball when they've got them at their mercy.
A change for France. Oscar Jégu on for Boudehont, and then Hugo Aradou, I think, was on for Alexandre Rouma. So 2 changes. Again, the opposition making changes before England, like in Dublin. England get the penalty. OK, Matt Dawson, you're on the pitch. You talk a lot about decision making. What's the decision here?
3 all day. 3 all day. On a day like today, 3 points vital. Because the last thing you want to do is not get any points here. Go up the other end and France get another penalty. It gets to 6. Maro Itoje, brilliant captain steal there. Fought so hard. Couple of monster French players, front rowers, trying to take him out. Showed amazing strength.
Going to the corner, Paul Grayson.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's just a range issue for Marcus and Finn Smith, whether either of them have got the distance from the cross to the 15 and the 10-metre line. Decent, not brilliant kick from Slade, but at least it takes him into the 22.
Well, Finn Smith confirmed to Sarah on the pod in the week that it would be Marcus Smith with the goal-kicking duties, but he came up from full-back and they decided as a group to go for the corner, and the line-out again is so scruffy as Mitchell does get it, but when does he look to Jamie George? When does he look to Ollie Chesham, Steve Borthwick? Tom Willis digs for the ball. He pops it out. No, he goes himself. England do have a good bit of territory here. They trail by 3, 11 minutes into the second half, but they're coming up with very little, and they give the penalty away. You felt that was coming. A couple of slow English rucks. France all over the ball.
Learn, Chris? When are we going to learn? How many times have you and I had this conversation? Years and years and years. This is a top-level test match. This is World Cup semi-final, World Cup final. Any other, South Africa, New Zealand, France, they take 3 points, they have a go at the goal. If it's not quite there, then it's a dropout, or you get a chase going. It's like, honestly, it's like talking about school rugby. It's so frustrating.
Genjoff, Finn Baxter on at loose head. France clear up to the halfway line, and they win the line out through Hugo Aradou. More changes coming. Paul Grayson on the touchline.
Yeah, Ben Curry about to come on. Tracksuit is off. He was imminent arrival. He was hitting those tackle bags hard.
Next score's massive, isn't it? Because if France get another 7, you worry about England's ability to chase the game into the final half an hour. Matt Dawson still shaking his head as England turned down the points, went to the corner, came up with nothing. Dupont, Aldrit into the English half. They're looking to pick and go, the French, just using their big carriers. 21 is Oscar Jégu as they empty this 6-2 bench. Fabien Galtier and the French coaches. Jalabert kicks for himself. Oh, Itoje does well, like a goalkeeper diving for the ball. But it's back on the French side. Dupont's found Ramos. Ramos off his left, asking Biel Biarri to chase. He's up against Earl. He might have the beating of Earl. Earl's done well there, actually, because he had to turn Chris Ashton. And the last thing he would have wanted is Biel Biarri herring after him. It's going to be a goal line.
Time is off. White 8, change.
Yeah, I wonder where he was going there, Ramos. I thought the space was on the right-hand side. He switches back to go left. And it's a really poor kick from how good of a player Ramos is. He comes off his boot completely the wrong way. And thank goodness it was Ben Earl. Back row has got ridiculous speed to get back and save the day. But again, you can't help but think France will be saying there's another opportunity there. If that kick is on the money.
Kick down the throat of Aldrit. We're going to go to Birmingham shortly. Remember, Birmingham have an early lead, or had an early lead against Newcastle. That's our Sports Extra game. But France, dangerous here. Ramos loses it. Slight home, who's been one of England's most industrious players. He tries to get away, couldn't quite. England ball, they're going to get the scrum, no advantage. Let's go to John Southall at Birmingham. John.
Birmingham lead Newcastle by 1-0. Could have been 2 though. Keshi Anderson on the volley just inside the area, saved by Pope to his right hand side. Birmingham looking for the second. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 0.
Thanks, John. Over on Sports Extra, if you want commentary of Birmingham Newcastle, we'll join the commentary from John Murray and Leon Osman in about half an hour's time. We've got 26 minutes to run here at Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. Earlier in the Cup, Millwall won at Leeds, they're through. Man City came from a goal down to win at Leyton Orient. Ipswich thrashed Coventry 4-1. Bournemouth won 2-0 at Everton, so loads of away wins. Not though for Preston and Wickham. Preston winning after penalties. Burnley won at Southampton 1-0. Cardiff won on penalties at Stoke. Fulham won at Wigan. And Birmingham lead at home to Newcastle, with Brighton Chelsea still to come. And Swing Low Sweet Chariot ringing around southwest London. England 7, France 10. Matt Dawson, England scrum.
Yeah, good position. Good position. Get the call. Nice and clear. Bench players starting to think about it. Are they tuned in? I was a little bit surprised, actually.
Penalty France. The scrum doesn't finish.
You could see Finn Baxter, his left elbow touched the floor almost instantly.
17 elbow.
Interesting that Steve has pulled Ellis Genge. And Nuno Antonio is still on the pitch there. He's definitely the biggest man on the pitch by a mile, but he's still going. And Steve's decided to pull Ellis Genge, who was matching Antonio in the scrum, to put Finn Baxter on, and he's dropped straight away the loose head onto his left elbow.
Yeah, I wonder what France will do with this penalty. Do we have to question it? No, we don't, because they're going for 3 points, because they're now out to win games. Oh, honestly, I'm not going to be able to calm down. Get on with.
We can tell.
Goodness only knows what I'm going to be like on the pod later. If England lose this game by a couple of points, I'm going to be.
You've got a bit of time to calm down. Paul Grayson on the touchline. Expect Ramos to gobble this up.
You'd expect him to kick that, and immediately after that, France will replace their entire front row. Colombe, Marchand and Cyril Bay will come on.
La Marseillaise around Twickenham. The soundtrack for Thomas Ramos to extend Les Bleus' lead. England 7, France 13. Paul Grayson again.
So Antonio's last act is to win that penalty against Baxter, and now there's a fresh, absolutely massive front row coming on. Marchand, arguably the best hooker in the world, over the last couple of seasons can't even get in the starting 15 at the moment. Colombe is gigantic. England up against it, and now, as Dawes has touched on a couple of times, going to be chasing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, what do England do with their bench? Because in Dublin last weekend, they made changes later than Ireland, but Tommy Freeman's done really well to get after that restart. He found Alex Mitchell. Freeman's got into play scrum half. Excellent from England from the restart. As we edge towards the hour mark on 5 Live, England 7, France 13. Curry in the centre of the park, slap bang in centre field. Mitchell out to Finn Smith. Finn Smith goes inside to the other Curry, Ben Curry. The twins on the field again after starting at the Aviva last weekend. Mitchell sniping, not with a huge amount of intent, and he was chopped down. Will they pick and go, England? Marcus Smith in at dummy half. Here's Tom Curry's been phenomenal today. Tom Curry taking the fight to the French. Alex Mitchell back to Finn Smith. Will he drop goal? No. He goes crossfield looking for Freeman. Freeman against Bielbiari. Freeman's got it. Freeman's going to score. And England have scored. And everyone around us on their feet. Great thinking, Finn Smith. Great claim in the air, Tommy Freeman. And would you believe it? England have a kick to go into the lead on the hour mark.
And all from a fantastic kick-off from England's perspective. France got it wrong. Went up too early, over the head, and Freeman in behind to give it to Mitchell to set up this attack. And then, as England have been, when they get into the opposition 22, they've looked dangerous. They've made really good decisions, but orchestrating that with a real cool, calm head. Finn Smith, a little bit like Ramos just earlier, switching the play to go for the crossfield kick. Finn Smith did exactly the same, but on this occasion the kick was right on the money, and Freeman licking his lips, loving every moment. Fantastic finish.
England 12, France 13. Marcus Smith for the lead. Oh, he's dragged it right across the base of the post. Chris Ashton.
Can't tell you how good that bit of skill was from Freeman, just to catch the ball above his head and continue going forward.
Number 3, England. 3.
Yeah, brilliant grab from Tommy Freeman.
It's just such a hard thing to be able to get right, just to continue once you've caught the ball, land on the floor and have the awareness just to find space, really, keep finding another metre or two to finish the try. It's well done all round there from Tommy Freeman.
Oh, what a final 20 we've got here as Ben Earl takes it. I imagine Ben Earl is at number 8 now with Tom Willis off, with Ben Curry on. But do England have the bench impact? Do they have the composure? Do they have the quality to win this final quarter and take a big scalp? They've not managed a big scalp against a big team since round 4 of last year's Six Nations here against Ireland. They've lost 7 in a row against the likes of New Zealand and South Africa. Australia and Ireland have all beaten them, but they find themselves just a point behind. But it's a position they found themselves in plenty, and they've not been able to finish it off. Here goes Jalibert, Penaud, great hands, that's lovely. Jegu, the replacement flank, he's driving up to the 22. Their intricate skill is outstanding, and England give the penalty away, and Cyril Baille goes to Ramos. Oh, they're cooking with gas here, the French. Jalibert steps inside, beautiful offload. Ramos, oh, that's class. There goes Francois Cross, the Toulouse flanker, into the 22. Dupont to the left, great decision making from Dupont on the blind side. Cyril Baille, what a loose head he is, over 50 caps. He's only 6 metres out. Advantage probably over as France go deep into English territory. 1 point in it, slap bang on the hour mark. England 12, France 13. Colombe, still advantage, you heard from referee Amisha Kelly. 6 metres out, the noise picking up around the stadium as France drive on again. Can England keep them out? Dupont goes to the right and just has his forwards coming like a conductor, getting the forwards playing to his tune. To the right he comes. Bielbiari, what a pass that is. Penaud in the corner. France extend their lead, and that's all class for the French.
Unstoppable. I'd love to sit here and say, oh, that's a real shame that was missed out of position, but it's just like someone has just slapped every single French player in the face and said, what on earth have you been doing for the last 60 minutes? And now you're only 1 point ahead, and you should be 15 points ahead, because that was world class from beginning to end. I think you probably mentioned every single player in a blue shirt there, Chris. Incredible.
It's the first time. It's took 61 minutes for us to see the French rugby flowing rugby. We haven't seen that at all. It was offload, pass, just rugby awareness. But the pass from Dupont, they were picking, slightly picky. I did think Mitchell was too tight, and he almost forced the decision for Dupont because he was out of line by half a metre.
Ramos, has he snuck this in? No, he hasn't. So still 6 points. England 12, France 18. Paul Grayson on the touchline. Your view of a vintage French score?
Yeah, it kind of happened right in front of me, and here's an interchange of about 4 sets of hands in under a second, it seems, and that got rid of the advantage but got France fully on the front foot. And there you just saw the influence, gentle game management of Dupont. He was flawless in that particular passage.
Yeah, beautiful stuff from France and from their Pity General, Antoine Dupont. Right, what's happening at St Andrews? Birmingham, Newcastle, another goal, John Southall.
Newcastle have the equaliser. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 1. Joe Willock with it 4 yards out, just nudged it over the line. Bailey Peacock-Farrell couldn't keep it out. It must have been fractions over the line. The linesman gave it, and Newcastle have the equaliser. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 1.
Right, FA Cup 4th round today. It's the Women's FA Cup 5th round. Ross Heaton's at Wolves, Man United.
Half-time, Wolves 0, Manchester United 2. The cup holders in cruise control following neatly taking goals from Turland and Galton. It could have been more. Mallard blazed over from only 5 yards out. In the break, Wolves 0, Manchester United 2.
Thanks a lot, Ross. And it's the 5th round of the Scottish Cup, and Dundee are through. They beat Airdrieonians 4-0. Livingston beat Cove Rangers 3-0. St Johnstone went through 1-0 against Hamilton, and Celtic lead Wraith by a goal to nil, edging towards half-time there. England have it, 10-metre line, working a set move. Marcus Smith out to Ollie Lawrence. Can he get outside Bielbiarri? As again the noise picks up round Twickenham. England need the crowd. They trail by 6 with 18 minutes to go. There's Finn Smith on the gain line, much better. Jamie George through. Here goes Curry. Curry to within 5. Excellent stuff from England. They can walk it into the left, and then they've lost it. Mitchell behind Marcus Smith, and Penno, he's not running it out, is he? He's a madman, Penno, at this kind of stuff, but he did have advantage, no advantage. France at the scrum, and finally England getting some really good front football. Let's get the view of Matt Dawson, Paul Grayson, Chris Ashton shortly, but another goal at Birmingham, John Southall.
Newcastle have turned it around. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 2. Wasn't pretty, but Callum Wilson's bundled it in from a few yards out, his first of the season. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 2.
Bench impact there, Matt Dawson. Chesham won the line-up ball. Jamie George bust through the middle.
Yeah, it was a lovely combination. You feel that the likes of Chesham, certainly Chesham and George, have come on and said, listen, this is the line out we're going to do. This is where we're going to go. These are the lines we're going to run. Marcus Smith, for all his brilliance over the last year or so, he's made a howler there. The ball wasn't even for him. It was meant to go in behind him. England stroll in. But certainly good impact from the bench.
I do wonder if those bench replacements are 5-10 minutes late, Ashley. One to pick apart in the post-match pod.
Yes, but I agree with Dawson. Marcus Smith did not need to get involved. The Henry Slade was in place. Penno had no interest in getting back. They were going to walk in. It was a 3-on-1, and they managed to butcher it.
Dupont clears. He just hammers it downfield. Here is Marcus Smith, 10-metre line. He puts up a kick for Tommy Freeman. Is Ramos out of position here? Oh, he's done pretty well there, Thomas Ramos. He kind of panicked because he was chasing after that ball that threatened to bounce, but he got it. He called the free kick. Paul Grayson on the touchline.
Yeah, the lads have summed it up perfectly there. Smith just over eager to get involved. He didn't need to go into first receiver and give Alex Mitchell the opportunity to make a poor pass and poor decision.
Finn Smith with an up and under. Thomas Ramos takes it, gets past Ben Earl, tries to get past a few more England players. Joe Hayes is on, so all change at front row for England with 15 minutes to go. The game in the balance at 18-12. Another France score, though, could kill it off. England have to strike next. Marcus Smith with the goose step. He's almost gone through as the noise again escalates around the Allianz Stadium. There for Hayes, out the back to Finn Smith, who's growing in confidence. He finds Ollie Chesham wearing 19. The Leicester man spins out of the tackle as Colomb tries to steal. There for England and Finn Smith. Ben Earl in the wide channels. He puts his head down. England almost up to the 22. Into the final quarter of an hour. Ollie Chesham carries. There for Mitchell. To the right he comes. Centre field, 30 metres out. Tom Curry, what a game he's had, the sail flanker. And he sets it up, and Mitchell has it. Do England have The cutting edge slight home from clubmate Finn Smith's short ball. Up to the 22, England making progress, almost inch by inch. Now Ollie Lawrence kicks for himself, that almost works out. No, it's been picked up by Jalibert, and then it's been lost forward. Again, France so casual, and England have it back, and Mitchell comes to the right, and he gives it to Tom Curry, and Curry's driving on, and he gets an offload to George, and Henry Slade kicks. Could England be in here on the far side? No, Bielbiari dots it down. Goal line dropout, Matt Dawson.
I think they'll come back for a penalty. Yeah, offside from France. England penalty in 15, 10 metres out. Oh, please don't make me even more mad.
We've gone slightly.
Time is off. 2 players down.
We've gone slightly kicking mad though, haven't we? Ollie Lawrence is kicking it. Henry Slade's kicking it. Why? Just keep hold of the ball.
Do you imagine if you were Gaultier or Sean Edwards watching this?
But Pinot, I've watched Pinot for the past 2 minutes. He's hardly broken a jog. I mean, he's had a few weeks off, Devin Pinot, with a toe injury, but he's operating about 60% right now. There's a danger man coming on the field though, who is a lightning scrum half replacement in Le Garrec.
Nika, just so that you know, your mark is on the 15-metre line.
So
number 9 was offside on the 15-metre line.
Stoppage now, because it's that Tom Curry, who's been kind of superhuman today, Tom Curry. He's getting some treatment. Chandler Cunningham, Southpaw Grayson still to come on, and he's up from the bench.
Yeah, with just taking a few passes from Harry Randall, probably signals the intent of what he wants to do when he comes on. Ben Curry smashed a load of tackle bags. Cunningham himself is handling the ball, so wants to make an impact as a carrier more than a defender. But England's shape is so much better when they get the ball through Finn Smith's hands more often. He's just started to, he had a slow first half. He didn't look like he was quite up to speed to international rugby to me, but he's found a foothold in the game, and just that little bit of influence over those last few passages of play, you start to see why he's so highly regarded in the Midlands.
Well, it looks like England are, they're going to placate you, Matt Dawson. They're going to go for goal.
Phew! Yeah, right call. Take it to 3, get it in range. Do you know what? I think, explain yourself, Chris. I think you're going to say you spotted something with the subs there, because we thought that Dupont may have come off.
No, Dupont's gone to fly half, and Jalibert's the man that's come off. Interesting decision. Le Garrec goes to scrum half.
Oof, wow. I think Jalibert's been good today, hasn't he? I mean, they've been a bit hair and scare in the French, but he's been dangerous, like all of this French team.
I think there's probably an element of get a grip of the game, and Jalibert can be a little bit loose and want to play a bit too much, where you've got a closer in Dupont. If he had to stay on the pitch, he is not coming off with the game in the balance.
Marcus Smith on the cross of the 15 and the 22, 6 points in it to cut it to 3. He's missed it. He's missed the sitter. He missed a conversion from a similar spot. That's 5 priceless points that England have coughed up. Let's go to Celtic. Gavin Wallace.
Isamaira's just doubled his lead. He's got a second for him. Celtic for Celtic, Chris. Kuhn steals it in midfield, plays it out wide, and the ball in, open with the right foot, straight by the goalkeeper. Celtic 2, Wraith Rovers 0.
Nice one, Gavin. How long to go here? 12 minutes as Mitchell feeds Ben Earl.
Over the shoulder.
And maybe that's why they didn't go for the points earlier, Matt Dawson, if Smith's just not got that confidence from the tee. Finn Smith with a little kick through that Marcus Smith hairs after. England should get this, they do. Ollie Slam kicks again. You mentioned they've gone kicking mad, England, but I think they're going to get a scrum, so it's kind of worked. And England are spending a concerted period of time now in French territory, albeit the scoreline still in France's favour. England 12, France 18.
Well, let's go back to the kicking issue here. If Marcus Smith ain't feeling it, he's got a very, very good kicker of the ball in Finn Smith on the pitch. You step aside. I mean, Grace, you're the man to talk us through that.
Well, those 2 misses are reminiscent of the kicks he missed against New Zealand in the summer. Pulls to the left. Now, it's late in the game. There is a little bit of fatigue, but as a goal kicker, as a front-line goal kicker, you're expecting to make those a little bit tense. Low drag that's his miss. If he's going to miss, he'll pull it across the front. If I was Finn Smith, I'd be just whispering in his ear, I'm happy to take the next one if you don't fancy it.
But for all England's travails, they are a converted try away from the lead here, and they've got a scrum penalty. Massive moment as the front row of Baxter, George and Hayes goes to work on the replacement French front row, and now it looks like they're going to go straight for the corner. Slightly harder kick. Finn Smith will prod it into the corner, just enough time to go to Birmingham. John.
Birmingham 1, Newcastle 2, but what a chance for Birmingham. Jay Stansfield 6 yards out, headed wide. Birmingham 1, Newcastle 2.
Thanks a lot, John. Half-time, Celtic 2, Wraith 0. We were hearing from Gavin Wallace. Twickenham expectant as Finn Smith prods it into the corner. Not a spare seat in the house. Everyone is leaning forward in their chair, desperate to get a view of this England line-out. They are 5 metres from the French line. Jamie George, so good in this area. He finds Ollie Chesham. They peel away. Here goes Tom Curry. He's only a metre or two short. Will England pick and go? Mitchell's up to the line. He is held inches short, Alex Mitchell. 6 points in it. A converted try gives England the lead and maybe the win. Baxter scored for England. Finn Baxter around the corner. His first England try, and what a moment to get it. Kicks to come, England 17, France 18.
Brilliant drill, brilliant execution. What a difference. Ollie Chesham, Jamie George coming onto this pitch. It's chalk and cheese with their efficiency, their accuracy in that set piece. Not only the line out, but the scrum as well. Great move, little peel infield, and you felt those blue shirts just start to tremble a little bit. The bench are in a little bit of disarray, and Finn Smith comes on to kick.
9 minutes to go now. Finn Smith for the lead. 17 metres in from the touchline on the 22. He slams it through, and England lead France improbably, but they lead into the final 10. England 19, France 18. Paul Grayson, Bedlam on the touchline, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely, but Kevin Sinfield taking the tee on for Finn Smith there. He got Smith to move it another yard in because he'd spotted that he was taking the conversion from a little bit too wide. Had another conversation with him before he kicked it, Finn Smith, which made me slightly nervous, and then Smith just blasted it straight down the pipe.
Right, what do England have in the final 8.5 minutes? Can they see this one out? You don't feel they can just hang on. You feel they've got to score again. There's a long time to keep this dangerous French unit at bay, Matt Dawson.
Yeah, when Finn Smith was coming back from taking the kick, Jamie George intercepted his run back and gesticulated to say, get that ball in the French territory. And he's absolutely right.
Mitchell kicks, and then Curry and Slightholme drive France back. Swing Low Sweet Chariot echoing all around the stadium as Ollie Chesham's up in the line quickly. 8 minutes to go. What a boost this would be to England. What a huge win it would be for Steve Borthwick as head coach. As Le Garrett kicks, but that's a wonky one down the throat of Finn Smith. And Finn Smith's looking for a huge wiper, but he's got underneath it, and it might be a counter-attack chance for Biel Biarri. He finds Ramos, and Ramos kicks. Going to be a bit of tactical kicking, and Marcus Smith, that's sensible. He calls the mark, and he will take his time, Chris Ashton.
I don't know if that is sensible. He could have taken the ball 10 metres and kicked France all the way back inside the 22. But instead he's made his whole team come all the way back. England have got the momentum here. Don't allow France to recover and go to set piece. He could have taken it, banged it all the way back.
Paul Grayson.
Yeah, Ashley's got a point. It would have been bold if he called a scrum, wouldn't it?
Can't anymore. Oh, he's gone quick. He kicked it quite long downfield, Marcus Smith. France then take it, put up a high kick, tested for Marcus Smith, who takes it. He's then wrapped up by Biel Biarri and Dupont. Dupont's going to try and lead from the front here. Under 7 minutes to go. England 19, France 18, as the England forwards drive again. Ollie Chesham's made a big difference since coming on. And Alex Mitchell is taking his time. They've got to get this kick and chase right. Mitchell's kick, one for you, Matt Dawson. Beauty, Matt Dawson says. And Biel Biarri is taken by Freeman and Ben Curry. Gets it away to Le Garrett. Le Garrett kicks. Tired bodies out there, but Marcus Smith is well positioned. What's he going to do? Is he going to counter-attack? He gives it to Finn Smith. Finn Smith from just outside his own 22. He kicks. Dupont is back there. Have England got any legs? Finn Smith leading the charge. 6 minutes to go. Dupont Well, he's got 3 or 4. Good vision. He finds Penaud. That was class. Penaud's down the right touchline. He kicks inside for Le Garec. Who's going to get this? Slightholm gets it. Knocked on. Penaud inside. They must score here, France. Aldrit, Ramos, Penaud. Oh, there's 3 or 4 men who could have walked it in. Le Garec. Oh, it's scrappy, but I think France will score on the far side. Out it comes. Biel Biarri does score and punctures the mood around Twickenham. It was messy. They found ways to butcher it, France, but they've just got too much class. Too many game breakers, and Biel Biarri scores, and England have to come from behind again.
Has Antoine Dupont got like one of those coins on a chain that you sort of you waft in front of someone and put them into some kind of trance? He was dead and buried there. He had 4 England players in front of him. He had nowhere to go. He went right, nowhere, left, nowhere. And it was as if all the England players stood off him. And then he just floats this beautiful ball over the top to Penaud. I can't quite believe what I just saw.
Comes off wide hand.
He just stops time. Everyone stopped on the pitch, and he phoned a pass none of us saw. None of us saw coming. He phoned a pass. He left it in space for the French player to be able to turn and run and catch the ball, and Penaud makes the break.
Ramos kicks it. England 19, France 25. And look at that posse of French fans over there by the corner flag, jumping up and down, singing their songs, waving their flags, and bringing some real French atmosphere to London. Back to Birmingham, John Southall.
Birmingham have equalised. Birmingham 2, Newcastle 2. Absolute lift off in here. Iwata with an absolute beauty. 25 yards out into the roof of the net. Birmingham 2, Newcastle 2.
Great game at St Andrews. Commentary with John Murray. Leon Osborne will be with them. They're over on Sports Extra now. We'll be with them in about 6 or 7 minutes time. England get a scrum from the restart. They've got knock-on advantage. They've got to score a converted try to win it. Marcus Smith out to Finn Smith. Oh, there's numbers here. Elliot Daly's on, but he goes inside. Ollie Slightholm would have loved that in a bit of space, but still there for England. Try scorer Baxter on the 22. Alex Mitchell, Ben Curry, captain Itoje into the 22. 6 points in it on 5 Live. Mitchell to Ben Earl. Earl with the ball under his left armpit. Now Mitchell out to Jamie George. Ollie Lawrence kicks for Slightholm. He didn't get his kick right. And Matt Dawson sticks his head on the desk. France line out 5 metres out.
I mean, he's not just grubbered that into touch, he's absolutely hammered it into touch. And again, wasn't the right option. Such a shame, because it was a lovely build-up play from England. Both teams are on the canvas.
France have gone over the top of the line out. It's okay though, and they set it up through Aldrit and Le Garec and Dupont. I mean, what kind of player goes from 9 to 10? We never see it really. Occasionally in France, and if anyone can do it, Antoine Dupont can do it in a test match with the stakes this high. England looking to get back into the championship. France looking to keep their Grand Slam dream alive. England 19, France 25, into the final 3. Line out England, 10-metre line in French territory. Jamie George prepares to throw. Itoje takes it, but it's scruffy. France then lose it forward, so England will get the scrum. But England have got to keep playing. They can't afford to take the scrum, eat up time. They've got to just play, you feel. Halfway line, Mitchell kicks, he kicks it away. Will that be it is advantage over. So he's just kicked it away, a bit frustrating that for the England fans. England trying to steal it, they have stolen it. Penalty England, and they will get one last chance. With 2 minutes to go and 6 points in it, England can prod this in the corner, Chris Ashton.
Great turnover from Ben Earl. Ramos has been not at the races today for the French fullback. He's given up so many errors in the backfield. He decided against the kick. He had enough time to get the kick away, but England's chase was really good, put pressure on him, and Ben Earl turns the ball over.
England have the line out. What's this, Paul Grayson? 15 metres out?
Yeah, 15 metres out. Ideally, they'd probably want it 6 or 7 closer. Then you really only got one option for the drive. They're far enough out to maybe do something funky. Curry in the midfield.
Deafening round Twickenham as Chesham wins it at the front. Heave is the cry, and they've got a little bit of traction there, England. This Whitemore moving forward inch by inch, 6 points in it, just over a minute to go. It is now or never for England if they're to stay in the Six Nations and avoid another defeat. 7 or 8 metres out, but can they get the ball back?
Use it.
Jamie George, here is, they are using it. Alex Mitchell, Ollie Lawrence, Finn Smith, Daly's under the post, and England are going to win it! England are going to win it in extraordinary fashion! They've come up with a killer play of all killer plays, beautifully worked, Daly under the post, kick to come, England can win it with 35 seconds or so to go.
What a maul! What a maul! Old school classic! Driving hard, ball at the back with a Toji. Look for all money that France have got their massive mitts on it. One call from the referee to use it, and England, wow! Talk about impact from the bench. What a difference a week makes. That is a quality finish.
Can he wait long enough on the stop clock? I think he can. Yes, he can. He can wait for this clock to go dead and then kick it. He kicks it over Finn Smith. England leads, but there will be a restart. There will be a restart as beer glasses hail down from above us and everyone's on their feet. But there will be a restart. England 26, France 25. Could Finn Smith have waited a couple more seconds, Matt?
I don't think he could do his maths, could he? He couldn't do his maths. He didn't realise if he just waited, it would have gone 80 minutes. One kick off England, do the drill.
Well, they couldn't manage it against Australia. Can they manage it now? It's a Toje under it. It's back in English possession. I think they've got it. They've got it, England, and they're going to win a massive victory if they could just get it off the park. Finn Smith kicked the winning goal, and he kicks it out. And look at the celebrations. Jubilation all around the stadium. England, arms aloft, they're hugging. They know the significance of that win. It stops the losing run. It gets them back in the Six Nations Championship. It leaves France beaten by 26 points to 25. What a win for England.
England needed it. England needed this big win, and nobody saw this coming, did they? No one saw England taking on France today. We got to be honest, in that first half, England were lucky. They were lucky because France had so many opportunities. But we all know we've all been to too many of these games. So what about what the opposition do? You've got to see what's in front of you. You've got to make the most of your opportunities. And England did that every single time England got into the opposition 22. They looked threatening, they looked dangerous, they looked like they could strike. They just couldn't quite get in enough of the time. But when they did, they looked powerful, they looked organised, and that last passage of play there, that last driving ball in a try, pretty much summed up what England were around. But my goodness me, did they have to work for it.
I said this week, I don't care what pattern of play they want to run. I don't even care who was playing. They just wanted to see a win, and that's what they've done. They fought, they figured it out on the run. We questioned about the 50-minute mark, but they managed to find a way through it. Jamie George and Ollie Chesham changed that massively for England. The line-out was a lot calmer. The way Ollie Chesham operates around that, he just cleans every bit of mess up. He's there, he just sorts the ruck out, sorts the line out. But England have managed to find a win today, which is just great to see.
Elliot Daly's try, Finn Smith's conversion, and what scenes around the Allianz Stadium in Twickenham. Paul Grayson on the touchline. Wow.
Absolutely, Chris. The bench when Elliot Daly went over for the try. Ellis Genge looked like he was going to explode. Turned screaming at the stands, at the coaches, at the fans. Absolute bedlam. You know how much it means to them. These lads have been getting grief for a long time now about the quality of their play. They were by no means massively better today, but they found a way to win against a France team who over and over again handed the initiative back to England. But it doesn't matter, all you've got to be is in front at the end, and it's a W for the men in white.
That is the game. France, casual, profligate. England, in the end, ruthless when they needed to be. And how good does it feel for these England fans who have watched a number of tight defeats, and now they get a tight win, a priceless tight win. England 26, France 25. Loads more to come on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. Reaction from the England players and management. Naz Faruqi, wow, what a finish.
Oh my word. I mean, where do we even start? What a finish. What a second half. What a last 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes from Twickenham. 26-25. England beat France, a converted try in the final minute of the 80. I mean, actually, the camera was just trained on Steve Borthwick, who looked remarkably calm, probably the only person of an England persuasion inside Twickenham who hasn't got a massive smile on his face at the moment.
No, well, there's been a lot of pressure on him, so I think it'll be overwhelming relief, really. Just the team has managed to get the job done, which he'll be so pleased of. You could, in the opposite, right next to him, Richard Wigglesworth was over the moon, punching the air, and as he has a right to be. They just needed to find a way to win, and they managed to do that. Finn Smith was really, really influential in the game. He grew into the game. He's got player of the match. It's great to see. He had a shaky start with getting charged down and finding his way, but he did it, and he's managed to take over the kicking role. He found the pass at the end for the important tries. Had a really good game. Just England got a win, which is so important.
I mean, Matt, you guys were talking about it in the second half, the momentum of that second half swinging one way and the other, but it wasn't really a France performance we've perhaps been used to seeing, certainly from them recently. And the important thing for England is that they stayed in it, they stayed in contention, obviously then therefore allowing them to do what they did right at the end of the match.
Yeah, I mean, France was scintillating at times, there's no question. They just couldn't quite connect for the killer moment. They couldn't quite get the ball. And there must have been half a dozen opportunities for France where they had held on to the ball or pinned their ears back, and Bebe had scored in the corner. France would have been away. But, you know, ifs, buts and maybes. This is where you've got to be at top level sport, not just in rugby. You've got to be in the fight. We've been saying, and they have probably been saying to themselves, we just need to be in the fight when everybody around you is on the floor completely and utterly shattered. We've got to be in the fight. And that's exactly where England were before. They conceded a try we thought was going to be the death and enough to win. And we saw unbelievable character, unbelievable fight from this England side, who have somehow gathered themselves from, you know, looking like they were staring down the barrel to winning a game and dominating the last sort of 5-6 minutes of the game. It's been a vintage performance.